Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's live show, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we got a lot in store for each and every one of y'all out there. I don't know about y'all. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be getting into, did Mike Williams go to the Las Vegas Raiders? Is he going to be visiting with the Silver and Black? Is somebody like Alexander Mattison? How is their visit going? Maybe a Tre White, how is their visit going? I know there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of circulation around what the Las Vegas Raiders could potentially do in free agency this week, and we will get into literally everything that there is to know. With free agency week one kind of in the books, I figured what I would end up doing here is I would give you guys a brand new look at some updated draft targets that the Raiders could have at pick number 13 in round one, and like realistic targets that they could have. Then I also wanted to do a brand new Raiders mock draft. We had a lot of people last week asking, Mitch, could you hook us up here, give us a new mock, tell me where you're kind of thinking where this organization could end up going. All of that is coming up here on the Raiders Report. I will also say it's Monday. I know what last week was, but the only way I'm drinking today, tomorrow, Thursday, is if somebody makes me end up hitting that gong. Friday, we'll be back for Raiders Friday Happy Hour. Should the Raiders sign Mike Williams? That's my question that I want to know from each and every one of y'all right now. Give me a yes. Give me a no down below. And if you haven't already voted at the live poll, which I do see already 600 people have, if you had to pick between one of those three players, we're going to talk about each and every one of those on today's live stream here. I see Matthew Y says, hell no. Got a lot of no's coming in here from Joan Molina, Abby Barros, John Horsey. Big Luck says yes. 93 Nabman says yes if it's cheap. Woo! Jay Hodge, yes. Juan Hernandez going to go with a no. For the Las Vegas Raiders, Chuggs, Mike Williams, it was reported today by Peter Schrager. He then deleted the tweet that Williams is going to be visiting with Las Vegas. It has been since updated to me, from my knowledge, that Williams is not going to be visiting with the Raiders, at least today. Tre White and Alexander Mattison are in the building, at least. But what do you think? Williams, talented player.
Yeah.
I mean, that Jacoby, Mike Williams, Devontae Adams.
I like it. Okay. I mean, if it's for the right price, I mean, the only thing I would worry about is a little bit of the injury history. I'm not too worried about it, more of just him coming off this past injury. But for the right price, I'm down.
Okay.
I mean, $8 million a year, $9 million a year, if you could, like a 2-year, $18 million deal. Now, if he's asking for anything over 15, I would say no.
Okay. I mean, it's a lot of money for a receiver that I don't really think that the Raiders need. If you wanted to try like a 1-year prove-it deal, I might be able to wrap my mind around that.
I think it really your answer really bases off what your thoughts are on Tre Tucker. If you think Tre Tucker is going to be a legit threat this year and an actual like legitimate option as the third wide receiver, maybe sliding into the second wide receiver, then you're like, no, I'm good on Mike Williams. I don't have as much confidence in Tucker because it's just he hasn't really shown it. He hasn't done a lot. He had a couple nice plays, but then he also had a couple drops.
Sure, I don't disagree with that. I do believe in Tre Tucker, and if somebody is out there that doesn't, like with the Telesco connection, probably something to at least throw out there. But we do actually have some NFL news here. Center Bradley Bozeman is signing a 1-year deal with the Chargers. Also, Kirk Cousins going to be rocking number 18, not number 8. Kyle Pitts, I believe, wears number 8. So Cousins is going to go with 18.
I hate it.
You don't like it?
I hate it.
You don't like it? I mean,
18. I don't know.
I mean Peyton Manning. That's it. That's all. When I think of 18, that's what I think of.
I'd almost rather him wear 19.
Oh, I think that's the worst quarterback number. I think the worst quarterback number you could wear from 0 to 19. I think I'm picking 19.
I don't know.
I think it's the worst QB number.
I'm not a big 18. I like 16.
16's good with me. That's Raider on. 16's a legendary Raiders number at least.
Johnny Unitas wore 19. Let me know. Worst quarterback number down in the comment section. What is the worst quarterback number?
And realistic QB number, like 0 to 19 is kind of where I would say.
I was going to say, we were talking. Caleb Williams, first number 0 quarterback. Does he do it? I know Petey would hate it.
I mean, if there's one QB that probably tries to do it, it's that. It's that.
I see 11. I see 15. I see some 15s in there for sure. I see 2. I see 1. 11. I like 11. I think 11's a good number. I like single-digit numbers.
Yeah.
My favorite number is 4. So usually whenever I do like a create a player in Madden and he's a quarterback, he rocks number 4.
Interesting. So I'm like 7 and 9.
DC, do it for DC.
Aiden number 4.
Do it for AOC. Do it for AOC. But I actually do like 4 as a quarterback number.
Interesting. See, I never really loved 4.
I don't see 5 a lot at quarterback anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, who's the last great quarterback that wore number 5?
Not great, but I think last one I remember seeing in 5 was Tyrod Taylor.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of 5s.
Yeah, number 5.
Donovan McNabb used to wear 5.
Yeah, 5's been a long time.
Yeah. I can't think of a lot of 5 quarterbacks.
I'm with you. Somebody said single digits are the best from Raider Juju 23. What up, Marcos? Let's go to another question here about one of the players that is visiting with the Raiders. Tre White, former cornerback of the Buffalo Bills, has played in 21 games over the past 3 seasons, 10 games in the past 2. When he's on the field, he can be a talented player. When he's not on the field, which is often.
Anthony Richardson wore 5 and Joe Flacco wore 5.
I knew Flacco wore 5, but I refused to bring up his name.
Why?
Richardson most of late, however, obviously got hurt last season. Do you sign or do you pass Tre White? So he is in the building at this current moment that we are making this video. He is literally inside the Raiders facility. Him and Alexander Mattison.
He's deep inside.
I mean, we said that the Raiders need a cornerback 1. I still don't really count Tre White as being that legit corner 1. If you're able to replace him for Amik Robertson, then I like this value here. Obviously, it is going to come down to the overall value of the contract, but Tre White on a cheap 1-year type of prove-it deal, that's another player where I'd be on board for it.
And anybody who's saying sign to Tre White and you're like, oh, Mike Williams injury concerns, you must not be very well-versed in Tre White's game. Yeah. Mostly because he hasn't played. He's played 10 games the past 2 years, 21 the past 3. He's not been on the field. He's been injured every single year.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those moves where if you're still in the faith of that you're going to take a corner high, what you can't do is sign Tre White and be like, we're good. I mean, no, you cannot do that. To me, if you sign Tre White, you still have to sign another 2 corners or add 2 corners that you believe in, depending on what you think of Ja'Cory and Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key too, right? Ja'Cory and Bennett, where does Antonio Pierce, where does the Raiders organization view him going into year 2? Do they think he can be a starter? Do they want to give him reps? Or are they kind of a lost cause? He'll just be a special teams guy for us. Special teams, special players.
See, I'm definitely hoping that Ja'Cory takes a leap forward because there was a lot of players that took a leap forward this past season. 2nd year with Patrick Graham. Now you got another year with Antonio Pierce. I mean, Malcolm Kuntz comes to mind.
Jack Jones. He was a bust. Nobody wanted him in New England.
Trevon Merrick had himself a hell of a year, and I'm kind of hoping that that's what you see this next year with Ja'Cory. Can Ja'Cory take a leap forward, something like a Malcolm Kuntz did, even like a Jack Jones did?
Let me know in the comment section. Who do you think plays better this season out of guys who are going to year 2? You think it's Tre Tucker, TT, or Ja'Cory and Bennett, JB? Who do you think plays better, kind of rises to the occasion more in year 2? Ja'Cory and Bennett, JB, or Tre Tucker, TT?
I mean, honestly, realistically, I'm actually hoping that Ja'Cory and Bennett is the answer there, but I do believe in Tre Tucker. I think Tucker makes a bigger impact this season.
Mostly TTs.
I think the other thing that he's going to do a lot more that doesn't always add up on the actual stat sheet is if the Raiders are going to stay true and if they're legitimately going to use Tucker in a lot more pre-snap motion, get him moving, let him be athletic, let him use his speed, his acceleration, get the ball in his hands.
Relax. Somebody said baby Tyreek.
Well, that's what Crosby calls him. Crosby calls him baby Tyreek. So the nicknames are going to happen. I see a super chat from Miggy Camacho. Remember, if y'all want to get those questions, comments up here on the show today, #Raiders, or you can super chat. Coffee Cheers Mitch, Chuggs, and chat sign Tre'Davious White on a 1-year prove-it deal. Let's go, Raiders. I hate number 1 for quarterbacks. See, to me, I like if you're going to pull off number 1 as a QB, you better be that guy. Like,
do we love or hate 0 as quarterback?
Same thing. I don't love it as much as 1. Like, if you're going to rock number 0, you better be unbelievable.
You better be the best quarterback in the National Football.
Like, you better be very, very legit.
If you suck in your number 0, like,
yeah,
it's waste.
It is a waste. It's a waste of a good number. I do think 0 can be a good number. Yeah. Like, to me, the best position in the NFL that could wear 0, I want to say corner.
Corner. I like linebackers in 0. Roquan Smith looks good.
Edge. I think edge would be a cool 0 number.
Could you imagine center?
Not bad. You put Christian Wilkins in a 00 jersey, and I'm like, all right, you know what? That's pretty dope.
Andre James, 0.
Max Crosby in a 0.
Better move mountains.
It would move mountains, man. Miggy, shout out to you, my brother. I like this one. Only in March. Will you do a March Madness bracket this year? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an Ed for no. I just watched Selection Sunday last night, our chat sports team.
They did a good job.
They did an amazing job. I was tuned in, got to see.
Okay.
I thought they did an amazing job. Tuned in, was checking out a few of the teams there. You're doing obviously a March Madness bracket this year. Hopefully everyone out there is at least doing something.
Yeah. You got to at least do it. It's like playing the lottery. Even though this is free, it's like you're not going to win. You're not going to hit all your numbers.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to be like Sweet 16. You're like, I have 14 of the teams. 14 teams in the Sweet 16.
I mean, if you get 14 out of the 16, that's impressive. That's very impressive to get 14 out of the top 16.
One year I had like 12 or 13 teams in the Sweet 16, and then I only had like 4 teams in the Elite 8. Then I picked wrong on all of them.
Yeah, last year I was not even close. I don't even remember who I picked to win it all last year. Was not close last year.
Or in the chance that you randomly choose a 14 or 15 seed to go a couple rounds deep, and they actually do, you're just the smartest guy in the room. You're just like, God, how did you not see Florida Atlantic going to the Final Four?
But that's what I love about March every year, and to me, that's what I love about college basketball.
Some people hate March Madness because their teams get knocked out early and they're a top seed. They don't love that. But
Who said that?
I'm not going to name names. Some people in the office said they hate March Madness because it should just be the best teams. I'm not going to say who, but PD said it.
No. I was going to say, maybe I wasn't paying attention when y'all were having that debate. That's like my favorite part about March is the chaos, the unpredictableness. Like, guys going out there potentially playing their final game. Like, sure, if you did a...
Johnny says McNeese State, book it.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about McNeese State. I'm serious. Dude, I have heard a lot of good things about them.
When you say a lot of good things, you read like a couple things online.
I believe they're a 12 seed.
Yeah.
And I was, based off of what I read in my limited...
I've heard a lot of good things about them. Quickly looks up the team last night when making the bracket. A couple good things. He's like, you know what? This is great.
I'm just saying, what I've heard, that's the team to take to the Sweet 16. I'm doing it, and you're going to laugh.
I am.
If McNeese makes it to the round of 16, you're going to be like, all right, he was right.
Dude, Mitch knows ball.
If it doesn't, they're like, dude, this guy knows nothing about Aiden O'Connell. If McNeese doesn't go to the Sweet 16, they're like, I can't trust anything this guy says.
March is canceled this year anyway because my team didn't make it. North Texas, they're in the NIT. They're not in the tournament, so canceled.
I got you. Well,
absolutely canceled.
Luckily for me, I guess I don't really have a team.
But like I said, some people, they just don't like March Madness. Some people do.
Let's go to John Rodriguez. Mitch, saw your cast last night with Graf and Wasted. You held your own. I like to believe that, believe it or not, when it comes to talking Raiders, I can hold my own in just about any conversation. Graf and Wasted are two good dudes. I was watching their live show, obviously, when the Aiden O'Connell conversation popped up. I was like, hey, let me get in on this. If anybody though watched that show, if anybody appreciated it, go give a shout out to Wasted and Graf.
The thing with Graf is he's the opposite of a Fairweather fan. He's a ride or die for the Raiders, and regardless, I do feel like sometimes he's just like, this dude's a Raider. I believe in him. I know he's going to do good. Even though all the writing is on the wall for that AOC is not going to be a good quarterback, they don't want him to be the starter. They brought in Gardner Minshew to be the backup. They're still looking at other quarterbacks. In the back of Graf's mind, I feel like he thinks if AOC just had one more chance.
See, I don't know if Graf does feel like that. I feel like Wasted feels like that, where it's more of you can't say that he's not going to be a good quarterback yet. Because, it's like McDaniels was there, which I hear you, new regime, all this and that. And I don't think I've ever said that I don't think Aiden's never going to be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's good enough to be a starter. And I just don't know how you settle for the idea of let's run it back with Aiden.
I feel like I'm in a 5-course meal, and the first 2 courses were very iffy / sucked. And they're like, dude, trust me, this restaurant's still good. You just have to try the other 3 dishes.
I mean, we'll see. I hope that the Raiders don't roll with Aiden again. I think it would be a very frustrating season. There's no doubt about that. But
I'll mark it right here. You throw your season away if you start AOC week 1.
I think if you start AOC week 1, you're hoping to win 10 games.
You have 0% chance to win the Super Bowl that season if you're starting AOC at the beginning of the year.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, but again, if the Raiders can go 8-9 last year with the quarterback play that they had, and I mean, it was the worst in the NFL, I think is a fair thing to say. You give Gardner, Aiden one more year, you're hoping to win 10 games. I think if the Raiders have a legit top 5 defense, you can get there. But I agree with you. You're not winning the Super Bowl.
Then you're just looking for a quarterback next year.
I get you. I get you, man. Let's go to True Raider Podcast. What up, man? Was not familiar with Tre White until this news popped up yesterday. 1-year prove-it deal is a no-brainer. Would be cornerback 1 a rookie could learn under. See, I don't view Tre White as the cornerback 1 that you want to have on your roster. Like, in a perfect world, you turn injuries off on Madden, yeah, we can have Tre White be probably a legit cornerback 1. To me, if you end up signing Tre White, it's more of a rotational player. Like, I still am going to go out and look for a Terrion Arnold, a Quinion Mitchell, a Ennis Rakestraw, a Nate Wiggins, somebody that I can add to that group, because I'm not counting on Tre White to play a full 16-game season. Just like everybody sat up here on this show last year and knew that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be able to play an entire 17-game season. That's kind of how I view that whole thing. Also, former Raider Brandon Parker has just officially signed his deal with the San Francisco 49ers. So Brandon Parker goes to the Niners, which maybe that happened earlier in the week and I missed it. I'm just seeing it right now. So, but no-brainer, 1-year prove-it deal. So let's say 1 year, you give Tre White $3 million, he has the potential to make up to $6 million. Like, that's what I would be willing to offer a corner like Tre White. What up, Raider man? One of my PFF third-round mocks, right tackle J.C. Latham.
Round 1.
Yeah. Cornerback Kai Jackson, and then
I believe that's
Spencer Rattler.
I think that's the kid out of Oregon.
And then Spencer Rattler. So you're saying in your top 3 rounds. What happened to the rest of your mock, though? Because I'll say this, in one of the mocks that I do today, I take one of these players. One of the mock drafts that you're going to see from me today, I end up taking one of these guys here. And
well, I mean, I'll vouch for Raider man. Sometimes, like, before I started working here and doing this, like, if I was just out on my own doing like mock drafts, I would usually only do like 3-4 round mock drafts.
Okay.
Because once you get to round 6 and 7, it's really just a crapshoot. It is just.
I mean, the whole draft's a crapshoot.
No, I know, but it's like it's players that like you really haven't seen or heard of before. So you're just like, I guess I'll take this guy.
You're not wrong there.
I
mean, I will say this, though. It's fun to do research on the guys that are in the late round draft. Like, remember how we talked about the dude from James Madison the other day?
Yeah.
Raiders are going to, like, visit, or I believe he's a top 30 visit with them. So he's going to be one of the 30 players that the Raiders meet with before the draft. I started doing homework on it. The news comes out over the weekend, and I was like, oh, shit, like, now I know a little bit more about that guy. Like the way I would do my draft homework, and it's going to be a video that I put out probably in April, but it's going to be like 10 players that you can pick at 13, 44, 77. And I always try to like bracket it out with, all right, I'm going to learn these 10 players this week. I'm going to learn these 10 players this week, and you just keep on going. But I get it. As the draft goes on, it's more of a, let's look for an athlete that might be able to be a special teams player.
Yeah.
Let's go to my man, Gray Hood. What up, Gray Hood? Sign White, and he should consider playing safety like Woodson did. It'll be less on his body. I do find that you're bringing this up to be kind of an interesting thing, and it's been an idea that I've actually thought about in my mind, and the way that I would spin it is, if I am Gerald Alexander, I go up to Tre White and I go, hey, this is what we did last season with Patrick Peterson. So Peterson was a corner, was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they moved him back to safety once Micah Fitzpatrick ended up getting hurt, and he played a lot better. And I know that the name that y'all think of is Charles Woodson because Woodson also did that. To play corner, you got to be arguably the best athlete on the field. To play safety, you don't have to be as nearly as an elite athlete, but still can be a smart player. Like Tre White, to me, I would imagine, still has the ability to be an intelligent dude. It's just his body has failed him of late. I do think this is an interesting idea that if I'm the Raiders, I would entertain, especially because recently your safety coach, Gerald Alexander, has had success doing exactly what you're saying. Let's go to 93 Nabman. All need to remember, when the pass rush has improved, Christian Wilkins, cornerback job becomes easier, quarterback's job easier. Minshew is better than people think. I mean, you're right. Christian Wilkins, this entire Raiders defensive line, it's going to move mountains. And when I say mountains, I'm talking mountains of offensive linemen for the opposing team. But Wilkins is going to help out your linebackers. Wilkins is going to help out Tyree Wilson, Malcolm Kuntz. He's going to help out John Jenkins, Adam Butler, Max Crosby. It's going to pay dividends. And then if you can get, if you're able to drop back 7, bring 4 every single time, that is going to help out your corners a lot. And with how competitive and how aggressive the Raiders cornerbacks are, it is going to result in turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, Wilkins is going to help out a lot. These corners are going to get a lot of help.
I mean, and that's true in that when you have a really good pass rush, it helps the corners out a ton.
Yep.
Still having him as your starting corner, like, you still need somebody who you feel comfortable not getting, burned at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
After he's been out so long, and I don't have the answer to this because I haven't seen him, what his health is like. We haven't seen him since week 4, week 5 of this past season, but, does he still have that agility? Does he still have that speed to, contain fast wide receivers in the league?
True. And then Minshew, I do think is better than what people think. He's not a top 25 quarterback, in my book, but he is somebody that can be a good game manager, somebody that if you need to be able to bring in can take care of the football. I mean, that was the other thing that we were talking about last night. If the Raiders have a top 5 defense, which quarterback do you trust? Which quarterback do you trust to take care of the football? Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell?
Gardner Minshew.
That's what I said, but I was the odd man out yesterday, which, is what it is.
Really?
I mean, Gardner was 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Aiden played better as the year went on. His interceptions did come early.
How many fumbles did he have?
He had a lot of fumbles too.
Because if we're talking about taking care of the ball, I think a fumble is almost worse than an interception. Because an interception's down the field, you at least get 30 yards of field position. A fumble, they're getting it behind the line of scrimmage most of the time. So, I mean, this past season, like you said, Minshew 15 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. How many fumbles did he have?
Minshew? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I mean, who would you guys trust more? Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell to take care of the football? If the idea is solely based on Raiders got a top 5 defense, I anticipate that the Raiders offense is going to be better this season. I'm not going to say that we're going to score 24 points a game, but if you're relying on your defense every single week to keep you in games, to me, you got to win that turnover battle. Which quarterback do you have more confidence in winning that turnover battle with, Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew?
Minshew had 8 fumbles last year, not all recovered by the other team.
Okay. That's a lot, though.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fumbles.
Let's see how many fumbles.
So you're saying Gardner put the ball on the ground 8 times.
Yes.
Fumbled with 9 interceptions.
Yes. And
Aiden's got to be around that
Aiden
number
has
too.
7 interceptions from last season.
Yep.
In fewer games, I believe.
Yes, fewer games.
Fewer games.
Aiden played in 11, started 9.
4 fumbles.
4 fumbles.
Hey, I mean, if y'all want AOC to be your starter, then, I mean, more power to you.
Yep.
I just don't think the Raiders will win. Like, this is my number 1 test, and Marshall Green, I stole this from him. You can close your eyes and imagine Aiden O'Connell holding up the Lombardi trophy. Like, if you can close your eyes right now, can you picture AOC winning the Raiders a Super Bowl? If the answer is no, then he's not the quarterback. Like, the whole point of a quarterback in this team is, like, you want a guy who can help the Raiders win a Super Bowl. I don't even think with the best team possible, I could ever imagine AOC winning a Super Bowl. Ever.
I mean, your hope is that you build something like San Francisco has.
But Brock Purdy's way better than AOC.
I don't disagree with that at all. And I think that's sometimes what people are like, oh, like Aiden can be a Brock Purdy. Aiden's never going to be a Brock Purdy. Aiden can never move the way Purdy can. I mean, I think realistically, Aiden's probably the least mobile quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't really think that that's all that far-fetched to say. But we'll see what ends up happening here. I mean, Aiden, I like him as a backup quarterback. Hopefully there's a quarterback battle. And if you do end up taking a Michael Penix Jr., a Spencer Rattler, whoever, and if Aiden beats out Gardner and he beats out that young guy, well, then you know what? Then he deserves the job. Let's go to Funky Raider 31, Otto Ward 00, and he was tougher than shoe leather. What's funny is Chuggs has a 00 Jim Otto jersey, courtesy of Raider Ron, and Ron wanted to get Chuggs that jersey. And Otto, to me, Otto has that mentality, that mantra that I think Antonio Pierce is trying to bring back, right? Like, you want to be the bad boys. You want to be this tough football team where it's like, we might not win every single football game, but at that end of that 60 minutes, you're going to feel us there. And that's the type of mentality that really this Raiders team is going to be looking to build going forward. What up, Carlos? Is it time to hit the panic button on the QB situation? I'm not hitting the panic button until after the draft. To me, anything can happen. And until the moment is it's a 0% chance, then I'll hit the panic button. I would say that there is just of a likely chance that the Raiders end up trading up into the top 3 picks of the draft, as there was trading Khalil Mack, trading for Devontae Adams. We hear it every single year. There's no way that this is going to happen. And then sometimes crazy shit happens in the NFL. Do I think that it's likely? No, of course I don't think that it's likely that we're going to get one of those top quarterbacks. And if we are unable to get one of those top QBs and we got to rely on somebody else, then yes, I am going to be a little bit nervous about the quarterback situation. But until there is a 0% chance, I am still going to hold out hope. And that's all I think that the nation can ask for at this current moment. All right, we are about to get into some Raiders news and rumors. Personally, Chuggs, I would almost like to do the news and rumors at the end of the show. And then we'll kind of kick this thing off with some updated draft targets, and then we'll also look at the mock draft, and then we'll get into the latest news and rumors. For anybody out there that wants to get in on our duck race or our March Madness action, I will say this. We are starting our March Madness bracket on Thursday, so we need 20 more people to join our March Madness bracket by Thursday. So if you want in, it's a $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365, and whoever wins gets $1,600. If you're like, Mitch, I know nothing about March Madness. Luckily for you, this has nothing to do with March Madness, and all it has to do is a duck race. So it would be like a David Zahn against a Jeremy Chuggs duck. Winner of that duck race advances to the round of 32, and we're going to start doing those on Thursday. So if you want in on the March Madness, it's a $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. If you want a chance to win some money today, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Who? Brandon Parker? So it was triceps and biceps, I think was the year before. Last year, I'd have to do some digging.
I think it was lower leg.
I'd have to look exactly.
I remember it being like a mystery. Best quarterback to wear number 5. Okay. Better than Joe Flacco? Oh, best quarterback number.
Best quarterback number overall?
12.
You think? Oh, man. I love actually number 7. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, the Parker injury last season, I'm pretty sure was a lower leg injury.
Oh, Phil, no.
What?
It's only on Venmo.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Phil, the only I need it on Venmo, which is a free app to download. That way I can actually send you the money back. So, Phil Z, I saw you said quack, quack, but I need it on Venmo. That way I can, like I said, that way I can actually send you the money. I as soon as you guys send in Super Chat money, I can't do anything with that. That just goes into our fund here at Chat Sports. Yeah.
It goes to YouTube, and then YouTube has to get all those numbers together and then send it to us.
Yeah, we don't actually see that money ever. So that's just down the path. That goes into our Chat Sports fund, essentially. So if you guys do want a chance to get in here, I'm gonna pull up my Venmo right now, and then after that, I say we get into some of these segments here on the Raiders Report. Though I do see one person is getting in for our March Madness bracket, so shout out to them.
Yoda said, would you be down to do some jumping jacks for Phil?
Jumping jacks for Phil?
He sent it in the 20. He can't get in the duck race with that.
It's brutal. You got some jumping jacks in you?
No, I don't. But no, he was asking you.
Justin Gilbert, you in? Yeah, I can do some jumping jacks for you. I mean, worst case, I'm just burning a few calories here. What do we got here? I see Steven Herrera. You're in March Madness, and then Rebel Montana is also in for our March Madness bracket. We got 18 spots left. 18 spots to go. I really hope that we fill out this entire thing. I might have to make some deals on Thursday to fill it out.
I want to join, but just the integrity of the March Madness, I can't.
I'm kind of with you. I think as soon as somebody, if God forbid you were to win, which that's the one thing I don't want to happen. I don't want to have to root against anyone. I would root against you because I already know if you won, it'd be like, Chuggs won $1,600 on the Raiders Report. And I'm not going to give the money to second place.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine we do it and it's you and me, one against each other. That would be kind of funny.
Tycoon says, I got a taste for some Apple Jacks. The funny thing is, I didn't realize, they changed the Apple Jacks mascot?
What is it?
Like, it's not a cinnamon stick with, like, dreads anymore. Remember it used to be, like, cinnamon?
Cinnamon. Oh, yeah. Now that you say that, absolutely.
Now it's not. Cinnamon stick has no dreads anymore.
Scott Eckert, Frank, Justin are the people that are in our duck race for today. If you want a chance to get in our March Madness bracket for a chance to win $1,600 at Mitchell Renz 365,
look,
$50 Venmo.
They changed it.
What is it now? I mean, that's lame.
Right?
That's too lame.
And the apple's different, too.
See, you can't F with the classics. Like, the classics to me are...
This used to be the two. Remember, like the cinnamon dude with the dreads. The apple was like, I don't know why the apple always looked mad. The apple looked pissed.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was the brand though.
Yeah.
That was the brand. All right, I do see a few more supers that came in. It said Jagger Drury 49ers lost some draft capital. That is correct. So, essentially what happened is the 49ers are losing a 2025 fifth-round pick and will have their 2024 fourth-round pick moved to the end of the fourth round because of a payroll accounting error.
Ha-ha! F you!
Let's go to Victoria B. Do you think Zach Wilson is worth anything / good? I do not. I was never a fan of Zach Wilson. I never believed in Zach Wilson. I mean, I was up here on this show before the whole Wilson draft process, and I was like, I don't even think Wilson should be drafted in round 1. Like, I knew that there was some people that were very high on him coming out of BYU, but I think one of the things, like, my biggest knock on Wilson was the maturity, and that is definitely, as you can see, like, Going from BYU to New York was a disastrous fit.
He's trying to get more mature. He's dating older women.
Yeah, I'm good on Zach Wilson. Like he's an athlete, sure.
Zach Wilson or Aiden O'Connell?
Honestly, dude, I'm probably gonna go with Aiden. I don't believe in Zach Wilson. Like I think Wilson's a better athlete, but just pure thrower of the football.
Trey Lance or Aiden O'Connell?
Aiden. Yeah, it's like I think people think I hate Aiden. I'm a realist on Aiden.
Sam Darnold or Aiden O'Connell?
Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold, and that's Trey Lance stinks. Zach Wilson stinks. Like you would like with Zach Wilson, the Raiders are winning 7 games.
AOC, they're winning 8.
I think with Aiden, they're probably around 8-9 wins. I still want to see how the other teams that are in their schedule kind of like build their rosters as well. But if you won 8 games last season with everything, why can't the Raiders win 8 games this season with Aiden? Like, that's the benchmark to me. You got to get to 8. And I think they could with Aiden. I think he would be better this year. I do. Still not the guy I want to roll with. What? I mean, you could also make the argument.
It's just Aiden O'Connell was perfect for a Josh McDaniels system. A guy who could stand in the pocket, is just supposed to dissect the defense and doesn't have to worry about his athleticism at all.
Yep.
Luke Getsy likes more mobile quarterbacks, likes guys who can get outside the pocket, extend the play a little bit. That's not AOC at all.
Oh, man. 93 Navman! Bang! Best number 5 QB has to be McNabb. Well, we were actually, during NFL Media Row, we were sitting next to McNabb in his booth, and which I thought was weird. He was like walking around in sandals, no socks, like at Media Day. Like, I don't know, like at least put some shoes on type of thing.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
I thought it was lame. McNabb, to me, was a quarterback that I thought really could have been special if he would have applied himself better. Like, are the rumors true that he was hungover before a Super Bowl? Like, I've heard that story before.
I mean, I don't have the facts on whether he was or was not. If you're asking.
You're like, wait, let me text him.
Yo, I know we caught up on Media Day.
I believe our first rounder needs to be Joe Alt, then a linebacker. We'll talk about Joe Alt today. He is one of my favorite prospects in this year's draft for the Silver and Black offensive tackle from Notre Dame. I just don't know if he's going to be available to you at 13. Like, I don't know if he's there at 13. Like, me personally, I would say there is a 10% chance Joe Alt's available to the Raiders at pick 10 or at pick 13. And I know I look thirsty, but Navman, I think you might be a little bit newer to the show here. Fridays is the only day that I drink that's not like a breaking news segment, or like if the Raiders right now were to sign Tre White, that to me is breaking news. Like, let's get the drinking pants on, let's party it up here. But on normal, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday shows that I do, I try not to drink. The only thing I drink really is coffee, some water, just because if I drank every single day, you guys would literally make me drink every day. No doubt.
Oh, yes. 100%. So, coming up, we're going to do our news and rumors segment last, just to be safe in case anything happens.
Yep.
But first up, updated draft targets at number 13. Who will the Raiders go after in round 1? Now that the Vikings have a little bit more draft capital,
yep,
it's more clear about who's taking quarterback, at least 1 and 2. They've already put their cards on the table. They're showing us.
Yeah.
I mean, they're showing us by far Bears, Commanders, not trading out of 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't see it.
The only way it happens, I think the only thing that happens with those two teams in a trade is that they swap.
Yeah. Which, if you're Chicago, I would entertain that. Like, I know what Caleb Williams is. I know. But if you were Chicago and you weren't in love with Caleb Williams, I do think they are, but if you weren't, you trade back, you're going to get, I mean, what do you think they would get? You're getting a first-round pick.
Yeah.
If you got your first-round pick in next year's draft to just move back 1, I mean, it'd be kind of hard to pass.
It was fun. I saw this creator on TikTok, and he was comparing this year's draft class to the year with like Zach Wilson and all of them of like, he said J.J. McCarthy's like Mac Jones. Zach Wilson is like the Drake May of like unproven quarterback that's young and has a lot of talent.
Sure.
Mac Jones with J.J. McCarthy, guy who's won a ton in college and put up decent numbers in like good statistical categories.
Mac Jones' numbers at Alabama were unbelievable.
They said
he also had incredible talent around him.
They said Trey Lance for Michael Penix, of a guy who has a lot of raw talent, who has a lot of injury concerns going back. And then it was Caleb Williams with who's else in that draft?
What year?
The Zach Wilson draft.
Trevor Lawrence?
2021.
Is that Lawrence's year now that I'm thinking about it?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, Lawrence went 1, Wilson went 2.
And saying that Lawrence was like the can't miss number 1 prospect.
I mean, the way that people were talking about Trevor Lawrence, I can remember on NFL Daily, Tom and I got into it of, would you rather draft if they both came out in the same year, Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence? I said Burrow.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember what Tom said, but that I remember I got flamed for.
The mobile quarterback, it was like the mobile quarterback with injury issues or something. I don't know. I think it was Michael Penix with Justin Fields, because Fields was in that draft too.
Okay.
It was Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2, Trey Lance at 3, Justin Fields at 11, Mac Jones at 15.
Mac Jones, man. That was an interesting landing spot. Though, that was like the perfect team, I think, for Mac to go to. And honestly, Josh McDaniels probably would have been a good OC for Jones if he would have stayed there. Kind of wish he would have, if I'm being honest. I kind of wish that he would have just stayed there in New England. We would not have had to deal with that entire situation. All right, what do we got here? I see a few more people that are trying to get in our duck race today. I see DeMokes is in for our duck race today, and then Raiders Sancho is also in. So right now, it'll be a $20 Venmo for a chance to win $50. And if you want in, we only have 18 more spots to go for our March Madness bracket.
$50 to enter. The
$50
winner
to get in that one
is going to get $1,600.
That's kind of wild. Imagine you're just like, all you got to do is win 6 duck races, and you win $1,600.
For some people in the office, they would say that's not fair because the 1 seed, you're not going to get the 2 best ducks at the end of the March Madness duck race. See, because you could have a number 1 duck seed that gets out early from like a 16 or like a 8 or 9 seeded duck seed.
Yep.
Where, I mean, it kind of ruins the mystique of we want the 2 best ducks at the end.
Okay. I feel like your duck analogy may be pointed at somebody.
No chance.
No chance?
No chance.
Well, it is what it is here. All right, man, let's keep this thing moving. We're going to get in now to some updated Raiders draft targets in round 1 now that week 1 of free agency is in the books.
Devin said, not feeling your... It wasn't a source. I was just saying a TikTok that I watched.
Which one?
He's saying not feeling your sources about the quarterbacks.
Oh.
I was just saying a TikTok that I watched. No sources.
Sauces.
Just a video that I watched I thought was funny.
We got some sauces in here. If you haven't already, like the video right now.
Chuggs said Caleb Williams is Trevor Lawrence.
Hit that like button. We got over 1,300 people here in the building. If you haven't, as Graf always says, wipe them feet, pay your bar tab, do it for Queen Sarah Auto. Click that like button. It does help us out quite a bit. Coming up, we're going to go draft targets, Raiders mock draft, and then we're going to get into the news and rumors that I think a lot of y'all kind of saw today around some of the visits at the Silver and Black Cat, and then we will go from there. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, y'all, you ready to get this show on the road? Let's talk a little bit of Raiders. If you want to get your questions, comments up here, hashtag Raiders Super Chat. We'll answer those questions throughout the entirety of today's live show, and we'll probably be live for another hour and a half-ish, somewhere in there. So 60, 75 minutes to 90 minutes left up here on today's live show. Coming up, let's get into some updated draft targets for the Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I'm going to be ranking the top 15 players that the Raiders could realistically take at pick number 13 in round 1 of the 2024 NFL Draft. Week 1 of free agency is in the books. And even though I did this video probably about 2-3 weeks ago, now with some of the moves that the Raiders have made, essentially mainly at the defensive tackle position, I wanted to give you guys a new updated look at my top players that I want Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce to realistically target at pick number 13. Some of the guys that are not going to be there. And the way that I did this was I ran 10 simulations on PFF and on PFN for a mock draft. And these players were gone every single time that I did it. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Roma Dunze. So these 6 names you are not going to see in my top 15 players list because, again, this is solely based off of who the Raiders could potentially get at pick number 13. If you find yourself looking for Raiders draft videos, hit that subscribe button. We're also going to be live for the 2024 NFL Draft. Every single pick. We're also going to get the picks before you see them on TV. Sometimes we are like 3, 4, 5 picks before what you're seeing on national television. Believe it or not, the internet is quicker than TV. If you enjoyed what we did this past week for free agency, it's like that to a whole nother level during the draft. So subscribe and turn on those notifications. All right, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to work our way from 15 all the way down to 1. And the way that these players are ranked is based on Raider needs, based on talent, based on overall fit with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Las Vegas Raiders only. Let's go to number 15 here. I'm going to go Tyler Guyton, right tackle from the Oklahoma Sooners. I know that the Senior Bowl means a lot to the Raiders coaches. It means a lot to a lot of people. And actually, a source that I talked to at the Combine, or I talked to a Chat Sports at the Combine, I guess I should say, said there's a lot of teams that value the Senior Bowl more than what they value the Combine. And Guyton was somebody that showed up and had himself a really solid Senior Bowl. He's 6'7", he's 327 pounds. He is a mountain of a human being. And if you're willing to risk, and when I say risk, if you're willing to put Guyton and Thayer Munford into a right tackle battle to get the most out of Guyton, then I think that would be sky's the limits for a player like that. Coming in here at number 14, it's edge Latu. And at the Combine, he spoke very highly of Max Crosby and said, that's what he's trying to get to. And I get it. Every single edge player probably wants to be the next Max, wants to be one of the best defensive ends in the National Football League. But somebody who says that they're going to be working with Crosby this offseason, I mean, that definitely intrigues me. He's a player where I do actually value him probably as more than a just top 20 overall prospect. Again, when you see these rankings, if 6 are off the board, that means Latu for me would be at number 20. Based on what the Raiders have at edge and the fact that they brought back Adam Butler, John Jenkins, Christian Wilkins, it's going to be curious to see what they do with Tyree Wilson. But if it's Max, Tyree Wilson, and then also you throw in a Malcolm Kuntz, edge is not the biggest need for this team. Let's go to number 13 on my rankings. I want to go tight end Brock Bowers. And Bowers is, in my personal opinion, a top 10 overall prospect in this year's draft. With the silver and black already signing Harrison Bryant and having Michael Mayer, Bowers would challenge Mayer to be that number 1 tight end. He would. And if he ends up falling down the board, could you see a situation where the Raiders show some interest? Yes. I just don't think that with all the other needs that this team has on the offensive line, on defense, that you decide to go out and find yourself a tight end. That's why he's ranked number 13 on my list. Coming in here at number 12, it's Amarius Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia. And this is another player that's got extreme upside. They just don't make humans at 6'7", 340 pounds that run the way that Mims does. And if you want to be an athletic team, Mims is definitely going to be one of those players. You have to have a lot of confidence in your offensive line coach, I'll admit. I want to see how the Raiders do James Craig this year, how he ends up panning out. He did have a lot of success at LSU. He had a lot of success with the 49ers. So because of that, I'm hoping that I have the same mindset of what I had in years past with Carmen Brasilla, where it was like, you want to bring in a project player? Bet, let's do it, because I have the confidence in the coaching staff to get it done. Rolling in here now at number 11, it's Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. When I watch this guy's tape, he's a small school dude. I guess I should say started off at a small school, then went to Florida State and was just the best player on the field. 9 sacks, 41 tackles. If you're going to use him in the correct way, use him be stand-up, outside edge type of player. Let him pin his ears back, go north and south, get after the quarterback. I've seen some people say, oh, could he potentially be and I'll just throw it out, like a Micah Parsons type of player where he's athletic enough where you could drop him back into coverage, do some things like that occasionally? No. Don't overthink it. If you end up taking Jared Verse, he's going to challenge Malcolm Koonce, and ultimately I think would mean that the Raiders aren't 100% sold on Malcolm if they end up rolling here with Verse. So here's my question. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. If the Raiders pick at 13, who are you hoping that they get? And I don't want you to say Jaden Daniels because Jaden's not going to be on the board here. Caleb, Drake May, they're not going to be on the board at 13. Realistically, Raiders don't trade up. They don't trade back. They're on the clock at pick 13. Who are you hoping that they end up getting? Let's go to pick number 10 here, and it's Troy Fautanu, the offensive tackle / offensive lineman from Washington. The reason why that this name is intriguing and he was not originally in my top 15 prospects is because there are some scouts out that think that he could potentially play offensive guard and that he's not a right tackle. To me, what you could end up doing here is just putting a competition together between him and Thayer Munford. And what happens if Munford ends up winning the right tackle spot? You put Troy here at right guard or vice versa. He is a Henderson, Nevada native, so his name's been mentioned a ton from people that I talk to, and he's definitely a name that you got to consider for the Raiders, and he's a guy that I know that they are scouting a ton because they're also scouting a lot of quarterbacks, and you have to be scouting the entire team, right? So if you're looking at number 9 on my list, Michael Penix Jr., then you're also looking at his guy who's been protecting him for the past few seasons. But to me, the quarterback position is the biggest need that this team still needs to go out and figure out. And at pick number 13, Penix is the name that is really the only name that I want the Raiders to even consider at 13. Like, if those top 3 quarterbacks are gone, the only quarterback, and I'm going to say it again, the only QB that I would consider for the Raiders at 13 is Michael Penix Jr. Now, I'm not as high on him as some other people are in the industry. To me, I still don't love the pick at 13, hence why he would be the 9th guy on my board. But if you're the silver and black and you need yourself a quarterback, the name that I'm considering is Michael Penix Jr. But how about this? To me, there are 3 QBs that I would say Las Vegas could potentially pick at 13 and it be realistic. It's Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, or Bo Nix from Oregon. Let's just say Tom Telesco, Antonio Pierce, they look you dead in the eyes and they go, I need you to pick one. I need you to take one of these QBs. Who are you rolling with? If you're going to roll with me, type MP. If you're going to go with J.J. McCarthy, type JM. If you're going to roll with Bo Nix, give me a BN. And if you want to be an overachiever, give me the reason why you're rolling with that quarterback. Let's go to number 8 here on my list. It's edge rusher Dallas Turner from Alabama. All I'm doing here is I'm telling you that, yes, I would rather the Raiders draft Dallas Turner than Michael Penix Jr. Do I understand that the need is totally different? Yes, it is a totally different need, but I'm a lot more confident in Turner being a solid player in the NFL than I am Penix at number 13, and that's part of the way that I did this draft process. The number 1 edge in this year's class to me is Dallas Turner, and you can never have enough people trying to get after the quarterback, especially when you are dealing with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and whoever else ends up being in the AFC, because there are a lot of talented quarterbacks in the AFC. Let's go to number 7. This is a little bit of a fall from where he was last time on my list. It's Nate Wiggins. I still view Wiggins as the number 1 overall corner in the NFL draft. However, he might not be the number 1 overall corner for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's a good coverage guy, a little bit weaker in the run defense game, and based on conversations that I've had, the Raiders are looking for a little bit more of a physical cornerback one, and that's just not Wiggins' game. Like, it's not. If you're looking for a shutdown corner, I do think Wiggins in the right system can be a solid player. I still would love if the Raiders ended up taking him. I'm not sitting up here saying, oh, I wouldn't love if the Raiders took Wiggins. I would love if the Raiders took Wiggins. Just based on overall fit and mentality for what Antonio Pierce, Patrick Graham, the secondary is looking for, Wiggins is not the best fit. And he's not even a top 2 fit for the silver and black. Let's go to number 6 here, and this is where, to me, it does start to get a little bit interesting. J.C. Latham, the right tackle from Alabama. If I hear one person say that, Mitch, we can't take another Alabama guy on the right side because of Alex Leatherwood, I'm going to throw up. It's the exact same way when people are like, we can't take another LSU quarterback because of Jaden Daniels and Jamarcus Russell. They are not even close to the same prospects. Latham at 6'6", 360 pounds is light years of a better overall offensive tackle prospect than what Leatherwood was. I mean, if you watched our show, here at Chat Sports, we had Leatherwood as a guard. And as you can see, that's where we said that's where he's going to be better off playing. Latham is a big-bodied guy who can do all things very, very well. He's not the top right tackle that I'm going to target. But again, if you're the Raiders and you come out of this draft process and you're able to add a J.C. Latham, if I'm Las Vegas, then I consider trying to kick Thayer Munford in at guard where he's already played. I am looking to improve on the offensive line in the trenches this upcoming season. Coming up here, I got the top 5 players to target at pick number 13 for the Silver and Black, for Pierce, for Telesco. Before I get into those top 5 players, though, I do want to mention to the nation out there, for maybe some of the people that do not follow a lot of our live shows here, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a March Madness duck-style race. It's going to be the first 64 ducks are in. I need now 18 more people to join. Winner ends up getting $1,600. So if you like our duck races here, it's going to be 1v1. You got to win 6 races, just like March Madness, and then that ends up getting you to the big prize pot of $1,600. So if you want, you could scan this QR code right now, put Duck Race, March Madness, whatever you want to put in it, but it goes to the next 18 people. These spots are going to go quick, and once March Madness officially gets going on Thursday, I'm telling you, you're going to be sitting there, you're like, oh man, I really, really wish I would have got into that. We're also going to do an actual March Madness bracket, but that's a whole nother story. Get in right now while we still got some spots left. You can scan this QR code with your phone, or you can add me as a friend at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to number 5 here on my list. It's Quinion Mitchell, and Mitchell continues to move up my board. He continues to move up the Raiders board. He was the best player at the Senior Bowl, and when I was talking to Graff and Wasted over the weekend about Mitchell, there was some hesitation on him because I know some people are like, oh, he went to a small school in Toledo. When you watch the tape on Mitchell, it kind of reminds me of like when you watch a really special player in high school. Like, I get it. The high school talent's not great. I get it. The talent he's going up against in Toledo, not great. But when you are clearly the best player on the field, that stands out to me. Then you go to the Senior Bowl, clearly the best player at the Senior Bowl, have an unbelievable combine. His length, his toughness, his athletic ability, his strength, the intangibles, the measurables, it all checks out to being a legit number 1 corner, and I can't wait to see what Quinion Mitchell ends up doing in the NFL. Let's go to number 4 here. I'm going to go with Olu Fashanu at offensive tackle. And if the Raiders want to kick Colton Miller over to the right side, which he's actually played before, could be an option to do. Personally, I would really just trust Olu to be a left tackle. Does he have all the athletic ability in the world to be a solid left tackle in the NFL? Yes. His footwork to me scares me, which is why I don't know if I'm sold on the idea of taking a predominant left tackle, kicking him over to the right side. And because of that, like, I view Fashanu as being the number 2 offensive tackle in this year's draft behind only Joe Alt. However, the name that you're going to see coming up here next is not, I think that he's a better offensive tackle. He's a better right tackle. And when I do these rankings, it's based on the Raiders and their current needs. So if it's on the board and you're looking for clearly a right tackle, then I am going to take Talisi Fuaga, the offensive tackle from Oregon State, who also some people believe might be ending up playing guard. And if he ends up playing guard, you put him at right guard, you have Thayer Munford playing at right tackle. If Colton Miller is willing to play on the right side and you can get Olu Fashanu, then I would actually swap Fashanu if you're looking for a left tackle, let's say. But Talisi Fuaga is a phenomenal run blocker. He's a physical guy, and like the style that he brings to the game is the style that I believe that the Raiders really want to focus on this year, and it's the you're going to feel us. You're going to feel us every play. You're going to feel us every single snap, and by the end of it, you're going to be pretty damn sore. There's a lot of giggities in there. Let's go to number 2 here on my list, and it's cornerback Terrion Arnold. So, yes, I am saying that if Terrion Arnold, Talisi Fuaga were all on the board, I am taking Arnold at cornerback, who, from what I understand, is the Raiders' number 1 cornerback target. They loved him at the Combine. They love his athletic ability. They love the fact that he's got that versatility where he's played corner. He's played a little bit of safety. They love the fact that he can play man. He can play zone. He's long. He's athletic. For the Raiders, and they are looking at a cornerback 1. The name that they're hoping to get is Terrion Arnold, and he would automatically be your best cornerback on your team. I was not sold on Arnold earlier this offseason. I've had to watch a little bit more tape on him, and I've continuously to watch tape on him, but what he brings to the table is like swagger, confidence, legit shutdown ability, and his upside to me is absolutely through the roof, which then means coming in here at number 1, it is offensive tackle from Notre Dame, Joe Alt. Notre Dame has done a phenomenal job of being able to build offensive tackle prospects, and I know Telesco loves them. Some offensive tackles especially, loves offensive linemen from Notre Dame, very smart players. Alt is on the left side. However, I don't care. Like, to me, I think Joe Alt, you can put him literally anywhere on the offensive line, and he's smart enough, he's good enough to make it happen. If you drafted Alt, I actually think that he would end up playing left tackle, and they would kick Colt Miller over to the right side because of how confident they are in Alt and how good of a prospect he is overall. Like, they don't make offensive tackles like this very often. Like, the last time that I graded an offensive tackle this high, you're looking at names like Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater. Alt, to me, is a legit top 6 overall prospect in this year's draft. And even though he is a left tackle, if I'm the Raiders and he's on the board at 13, that's the guy that I think that they're going to end up taking. So after all of that, everything that you just heard here, who do you think that the Raiders end up picking at number 13? So earlier in the show, I asked you, who do you want? Now this is your time where I want you to make your prediction. All in. Push all your chips in. Who do you think the Raiders end up picking at number 13 of the 2024 NFL Draft? There's definitely a few names that come to mind for me, and if I was going to move my chips in on the table, like, I know I have Joe Alt ranked at number 1, but he's not the player that I think is the most likely to be on the board at 13, and if I'm putting my money on somebody, right now, I'm probably going to put my money on Terrion Arnold. If you're looking at corner, to me, the corner that has the most likely of a chance to get drafted by the Raiders is Terrion Arnold. If you're like, no, we're not going to go corner, you're looking at an offensive tackle, that next name then to me is Talisi Fuaga, who plays right tackle out on the West Coast and has said that he's got some family members that are Raider fans and would love to be able to play for this organization. So between Terrion Arnold and Talisi Fuaga, those to me are the top 2 most likely to be picked. If the Raiders are going to target a quarterback, the quarterback that I believe is the most likely to be picked at 13 is Michael Penix Jr. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy is going to be on the board at 13, and the more and more stories that come out make me believe that he's going to be gone in the top 10 picks, which I really, really hope that he is. And if it comes down to QB, just based on what I think is the most likely, Michael Penix Jr. is a name to keep in mind. To stay up to date on the latest going on around this team, hit me up on IG, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, all that type of good stuff. At Mitchell Renz 365. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date on the Raiders, and we will be live for the NFL Draft, so make sure you're tuned in because it's going to be a hell of a time here on the Raiders Report. All right, we did get some breaking news while that cut was going down. Chase Young signing with the New Orleans Saints.
Trizzy going crazy.
Chase Young going to the New Orleans Saints, which I feel like you talked about that earlier today. I feel like you were like, or you said it last week, you're like, Chase Young is such a saint.
No, that was Trace.
That was Trace?
I think Trace said it. I think Trace said Chase Young is a saint.
I was saying, I remember last week people were talking about, maybe it was Trace. I don't 100% remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure.
It sounds like something Trace would do.
It does sound like
Just
a very Trace.
Insert random player, he's a saint.
Yes, he's a saint. Good times.
We also have more breaking news.
I'm listening.
We have some super chats.
Ooh, we do. Also, Rosario Morella is in for our duck race today. I see Chris Guzman is in for our race today. And then I see Philip Zazaeta is in. And now we got some new names for our March Madness bracket. So I see Yoda Jenkins is in. Gabriel Figueroa. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Figueroa. Wow, I got to get this one right. OA. And then I also saw another one from Mike Van Leuven. And then Richie Cruz is in for our March Madness. So that means 14 spots left. 14 spots left in our March Madness bracket, which gets going on Thursday. It gets going on Thursday. 14 spots left. I already know I know we're going to get more than what I know we're going to get more. Like on Thursday when I'm like, all right, today's the final day to get in, that's when people are going to start getting in. Charles, we need a live 32-team host Chat Sports mock draft.
The problem is
we don't have that many.
Yeah, we don't have all the channels yet. All the shitty teams we don't have channels for yet. We don't have a channel for the Jags,
Chargers.
We'll
get there at some point.
Some of them we have channels. We just don't have hosts yet for them.
Correct.
We're still growing out our hosts, and we're actually hiring now. So
we are hiring. Now, if you want to work here, awesome. I just will tell you, it won't be doing Raiders stuff. Won't be doing Raiders stuff, unfortunately, for some of y'all. Let's go to Rob Fravor. You're in for the duck race, $20 Venmo. Right now, you'd win $90.
I know, Navman. I know.
93 Navman. Mitch, I'm disappointed. No bong for the bang. So, again, I think you might be a little bit new here. I did say to start the show, I'm not drinking today.
How about 93 Navman, have you Venmo'd before?
If the answer is yes, then I can put you in.
Yes.
The question is, though, what's the name?
Yeah, Navman. If you Venmo'd before, what is the name on your Venmo so we can get you in?
Which, and again, like, I'm sorry for disappointing you. I tried to say it in the beginning of the show, like, I'm not drinking on Monday, Tuesday. The only way that I drink is if somebody ends up hitting the gong. Just because, like, you guys would make me drink every single day, and I am trying to be a little bit healthier.
Navman, let us know what your Venmo is so we can get. If you just let us know what name you are, then we'll get you in our duck race.
I can get you in the duck race. I need to know the name. Somebody said eat the chip. I don't even know if I want to eat the chip again. I read something really scary the other day that somebody passed away from eating the chip.
If you want to, I would say that, but then other people would probably do it.
What?
I was going to say he should just Venmo you $1 and say Navman, but then.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be able to tell.
Yeah. Patrick.
What's up, man?
You know, Mitch, I'm from the South Carolina. Sorry. I thought he was about to say I'm from the South. You know, Mitch, I'm from South Carolina. Let's do QB Spencer Rattler, the MVP of the Senior Bowl, not the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Have to admit, this QB has potential.
No doubt that he has potential.
Mitch is higher on him than I am.
I think I'm higher on him than. I would take him in round 3.
Most of me is like that because I saw him in the Netflix special, the quarterback, or what is it called?
I mean, he got beat out by Caleb Williams.
Yes, and like his numbers with a guy like Xavier Legette, with a guy like that who's a top, 2-3 round wide receiver, he didn't put up the numbers for me. I don't know. I watched him in a couple games too, and he didn't look bad, but I wasn't like, dude, this dude is an NFL quarterback.
D's nuts March Madness tournament. You in?
I'd honestly go AOC over Spencer Rattler.
Yes, yeah. In year 1, you're probably not wrong. Like, in year 1, if I got to win a football game right now, Spencer Rattler or Aiden, I'll probably roll with Aiden. However, like Rattler's upside to me is
if we're going off,
so much higher than Aiden's.
If we're going off upside, I'd rather just take Joe Milton.
Ugh. Yeah, see, I don't see any upside there. There is one team in the NFL that should draft Joe Milton, and that's it to me. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm taking Joe Milton. You draft him in round 6, round 5. Honestly, if I'm Philadelphia, I even consider it in round 5. And the only thing that you teach him how to do, tush push. In case Jalen Hurts gets injured, for Philadelphia and how they have mastered that play, which might be a little bit different this year with a new center.
Yeah.
I'm drafting Joe Milton to do tush push. That's it. If you told me you could find another quarterback to do the tush push, for Philly, I think it's worth it. Ruben.
Is Minshew going to be our starting quarterback?
I would say at this moment, he's the most likely to start. I do think he's an upgrade over Aiden. But, if you're the Raiders, you got to leave it an open competition. And that's what it's going to be now. I actually don't think it matters who the Raiders end up taking this year unless they trade up for a quarterback like Jaden, Drake May, or Caleb Williams. It's going to be an open battle. Even if you take Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix at 13, it's still going to be a competition.
Yeah.
And if it's Bo at 13, he ain't winning that battle. Like, Bo Nix has not beaten out Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell this year.
Yeah.
No way.
Patrick, not necessarily at 13, but second round. Talking about
Spencer
Rattler.
That's still too early for me.
I wouldn't take him before round 4. That's just me.
Yeah, he's going to be gone before then. Like, I think he goes in the top 100 picks. I think he ends up going in the top 100. It's going to be close.
I'm not big on Spencer Rattler.
I mean, it could also come down to, like, if Penix and Bo Nix slide down the board, then maybe you see the QB slide a little bit. But if those top 6 quarterbacks are gone by the Raiders pick at 44, Rattler is guaranteed going off the board in the top 75. I just don't know if those top 6 quarterbacks go in the top 44 picks. Like, to me, I think Nix is going to slide a lot further than what people think.
Did you see the money on the Chase deal?
1 for 13?
Fully guaranteed.
It's an interesting offer. It's a little bit much for me.
Yeah. Nico says boof the jelly bean.
Boof the jelly bean. Yikes.
Raider Smoke 89, a.k.a. Papaya Man. Watch Terrion Arnold's combine interview. Dude is a stud. I mean, yeah, he seems like he has a really good head on his shoulders. I think he's really mature. I think he's a really good quarterback. Holy shit.
Joseph Stevens, you in.
Oh!
You in.
Feathery Mars Bang! Holy Feathery Mars!
What are we celebrating?
I'm getting hot.
What are we celebrating? Let's celebrate.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day?
Maybe.
I'll be real. I didn't do anything this weekend.
Guy wants to boof.
I was, and I'm not kidding you, Friday was probably one of the top 5 most cooked I've ever been on a Raiders Report show. Zahn and Abjan put my dick in the dirt.
So for 200, is that a beer bong or?
I'm not drinking today. Unless somebody hits the gong, I'm not drinking. And
what if one more person sends in 100?
I'm not drinking today. I'm just telling you, I'm not drinking. I know, man. I know. I got to keep my rules the rules. Or else every single day, this is going to happen. Every single day, I'm going to get hit with, can you do it? And if I do it once, then I always got to do it. I mean, you guys know that I'm never against having a good time. I'm not. But, dude, every day doing boots, it's not easy on the body. It's not easy on the body. Do it for AOC. I tell you this right now. If you could guarantee me that AOC is not the Raiders starting quarterback this year, I would do a boot right now. I would easily, and I mean easily, do a boot. It's that time of the year, Mitch. Yikes. Stick to your game plan, Tycoon. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I mean, OC, you got to create the boundaries. You got to create them. Feathery Mars, man. What do you want to celebrate? You let me know, because this is insane. This is insane. Feathery, do I have your? Let me see. I feel like I thought I had Feathery Mars on here. Feathery, do I have your Venmo? I don't know if I do. D's Nuts, did I say D's Nuts is in March Madness?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say right now we got 11 people in for a chance to win $110. I'm still waiting to see, Feathery, if you want in March Madness. Also, if
What about a shot?
Take it. Go for it.
What about a shot?
You got it. Take a shot. I'm not drinking today. So it's Monday. Dude, I'm not kidding you. Saturday was rough. Even Friday night was rough. Because Friday night, Alex wanted to go to this, I told you guys I was going to a housewarming party. We had to go to it was like a party on a random street in Dallas for a gym. Dude, I was not okay. Not good. And then I ended up going to my buddy's house party, and Yeah. No, I'm trying to get my Venmo situation fixed. Feathery.
Michael, yes. He said, if I send 50 for the March Madness and 60 for the duck race, do I get 3 ducks?
Yes. That is correct.
Rebel Montana, which this is news to me, he said, tell Marshall to be ready for a boot race tomorrow. Was this discussed? I don't remember this.
I'm not sure either.
Marshall Green, care to respond? He said I have some work to do.
Stephen Rupp wants to get in for the bracket. Rupp, just so you know, it's a $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 if you want in. All I have you in right now is for our duck race, which you sent 20 for. Just keep that in mind.
Patrick, I don't care who they get. AOC was in a tough spot, but with talent around him, he had Devontae Adams, a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League. He had Josh Jacobs, the season prior, a top 10 running back in the National Football League. He had a top 15 offensive line. I hate the narrative that the team absolutely sucked. Who did the Raiders get on offense this offseason that's going to make it 10 times better? They're running it back. It's the same offensive weapons. It's Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, besides Josh Jacobs. Instead, you just have Zeus. If you're saying that this is the problem, that, he didn't have enough talent around him, from last season, what do you expect him to do this year? He has the same talent around him.
Yeah, and I will, agree with the idea of, it was McDaniels, you had Bo Hardegree, not great offensive coordinators, Mick Lombardi.
But even the season prior,
no,
Derek Carr had way better numbers than he did.
I will also say, though, I view Aiden as a quarterback like I view Mac Jones. To me, they are like the exact same QB, right? And Aiden is made to be the quarterback in a Josh McDaniels system, and that's the truth, whether you like to hear that or not. Now, do I hope that in year 2, he can get a little bit better? Yeah, you're still hoping that he can get better and understand defenses, concepts, all that. Aiden O'Connell is plain chicken. No salt, no pepper. He can be a quarterback just like chicken can be the meal that you want. It's just not the meal that I want. It's not the quarterback that I want. And you're just not going to be able to change my opinion on that.
It's not the meal that you're going out to a 5-star restaurant to get.
I'll tell you this. There's not a restaurant. I don't care what it is. I'm not going to a restaurant and just getting plain chicken. It's like going to a pizza place and just getting cheese pizza. Not doing that either. No way. Robert Price, you sent me $1. I don't know who that is. I don't know. So if you want to message me.
That might be Navman.
It might be, but I want that person to message me and tell me what their YouTube handle is. Let's go to Feathery Mars. No, sorry. I'm trying to get my Venmo situation fixed. Feathery, you have Cash App.
He says, I want to celebrate my 10th Super Chat.
I don't know. With Luke Getsy being our OC, we need to utilize Michael Mayer. We are going to utilize Michael Mayer. I know that.
Feathery Mars, Fs.
No, there's no doubt. F&M.
Oh, F&M?
F&M. Feathery Mars, 10th Super Chat, wanted to celebrate.
F&M on the DL.
F&M on the DL. I do anticipate that the Raiders are going to utilize the 2 tight ends. You're going to see a lot of it.
Apparently there's a Chiefs fan in the chat. Spam FKC.
Get him out of here.
Oh, Bobby Shannon.
Get him out of here.
You're out of here.
Later.
You're out of here. OC Raider. I'm praying that y'all get a deal with the Raiders and can start doing some live shows at the stadium. Then we can do our boot race. Any word on that Woodson jersey from January? You have to check the tape.
If I had to guess, the sizes are not in. I still owe Nico Laz a Crosby jersey. The sizes aren't in. It depends what size you are, OC, because a lot of the jerseys that, the way that the NFL is going to work now is they're going to put out, their new jerseys coming up here in a little bit. So with all the sizes and everything in stock, the amount of jerseys that I still have to send out that we just don't have the sizes for, it's an issue. Like I said, Nico, I still owe. Patrick
Whoa.
B.
The Texans'
a
new
jersey.
jerseys came out.
Yeah, I just saw them. They look good. I still owe Patrick B. a jersey from like back in October. It's a Robert Spillane. The problem is the size isn't right yet. So.
Oh, these kind of go hard.
No, they look good, man. They look really good. But I'll make a note of it, Raider OC or OC Raider, and then we'll I'll check the status update on it. But if you guys ever are curious about this kind of stuff, message me. I usually look at all this stuff on Wednesday. It's the only day that I don't go live. But last week, since I went live on Wednesday, I didn't really have time to go look at a lot of the deals. But you and me both. I would love for the opportunity to be able to do what we do in front of a live Raiders audience at Allegiant Stadium, and we could do the watch party the way that I want to do a watch party. Like, imagine, you tailgate, you head inside, and then exactly what we're doing, they put a little spot for us in the stadium, and people could watch with us. I think it would be a lot of fun. All Michael right. Gomez, you in, Mr. Gomez. So Michael Gomez wants 3 Ducks.
Marsh.
And March Madness.
Marsh. New Texans jerseys just dropped.
Michael Gomez, you are in, which means we only have 12 more spots to go.
Grade the jersey. A, B, C, D, or F. What do you give it, Mitch?
They're only the white jerseys. I would want to see more. I think
they have the horns on the side.
I think the 3 concept is pretty cool. It's different. Raiders jerseys are a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that has to do more with the colors, but not a bad jersey. What do you guys think? Grade the new Texans jerseys, A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think?
I'm seeing C, D, F, A.
I like the number concept.
I was hoping, but also I didn't know if they were going to be willing to do the powder blues.
See, if I was Houston, I would go with a NASA jersey, an all white. Make it look like a space helmet, everything just all white. Agreed. That to me would be dope. And when I say all white, I even mean the helmet, don't even put a Texans logo on the side. If you legitimately made it a all white space outfit, that would be awesome.
The helmet looked like a space helmet. Everybody has to wear a visor. You can't not wear a visor.
Has to wear a visor. I don't think that's going to happen. What up, Nico? Speaking of jerseys, did y'all see the epic jersey swap yesterday between Anthony Black and Grady Dick?
Yes.
I did not.
So a guy named Anthony Black, last name on his jersey, swapped jerseys with a guy named Grady Dick, last name on his jersey. I'll let you know, or I'll let you think about who put whose jersey in front.
Yep.
But the picture read one last name and then the other.
Dick Black.
Yes.
Yep. Of course. Yes. I'll tell you what. It's creative. That's next level thinking.
Rumor is, because it was with the Orlando Magic. Okay. Orlando Magic. That somebody on their social media team posted it. It got taken down today, and the rumors is that they fired whoever posted it from the Magic.
But that's what social media is supposed to do. No?
There was reports that they had fired the person who posted. Not confirmed yet or not, but.
I get the idea. If somebody were to just tweet out, I'll just say it, Black Dick. I get you can.
Clip that.
They can fire him. But how can you fire somebody for posting a jersey swap? It's literally their last names. I get what they were doing, but if I'm a social media manager, that's what I want, especially if it goes viral. Think about how often we talk about the NBA. They're doing exactly their job. That's what social media manager is supposed to do.
You're supposed to put funny things up.
Correct. Rebel, Marshall, it's for a B-Day request. So I'm guessing Marshall or Rebel's birthday's tomorrow?
I guess Rebel's birthday is tomorrow, and the only thing he wants is a Marshall boot race. Wow.
That's it. Good luck. I think, though, this time it's got to be just happy dads for Rebel, happy dads for Marsh. Rebel, my question to you is...
If you're going to spew
Is Marshall live tomorrow?
Oh, no, he said birthday's on Wednesday.
Is Marshall live on Wednesday?
Marshall, are you live on Wednesday? No?
No?
Are you live? I would say this, Rebel. He's live tonight on Knicks.
Okay.
If you want to have this go down, I would say the best way for you to do that is go over to his Knicks chat and get a deal with Marshall tonight.
Who do they play? They play the Warriors tonight, right?
They play the Warriors tonight. So
that's a pretty good matchup.
Rebel, if you want that to happen, Marshall, he's hard at work right now doing stuff for his Giants and Knicks channels. If you want to do that with Marshall, I suggest you go over to that channel. I don't know the deal, Rebel. You got to work it out with Marshall.
Yeah.
You got to work it out with Marshall.
I don't know, Reb. I don't know.
But I can guarantee you for the right price on tonight's stream, he will do a boot race with you.
Yeah, I bet you. I bet we can figure it out. Let's go to, or I think we're all caught up. I think we are all caught up. You know what? Let's get into our mock draft now. So obviously with 1 week of free agency in the books, I wanted to do a brand new Raiders mock draft. Now the mock that you're going to see coming up here, I ended up doing on PFN, and I did no trades. Like, there were definitely times in the mock draft where I wanted to do a trade. However, the first time that I did it, I wanted to just say, all right, I'm just going to keep all the Raiders picks. Originally, Tankathon expected the Raiders to get 9 picks in total. The Raiders have 8 picks in total now. So I kind of just ran through this mock draft. You had 2 picks in round 7, and then you have all the other picks round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't want to do any trades. There were definitely opportunities for me to make trades in this mock, but at the end of the day, I kept all of them just to kind of show y'all who were some of the players that are available. I loved some of the value that I got, though there were a few other spots in this mock draft that I didn't love some of the picks that I made.
I've seen your mock. Not a bad mock.
It really comes down to one spot to me, and you guys will see where I'm talking about exactly on this mock draft here. But if we could get to 500 likes, that would be greatly appreciated, and then I think we're going to get into today's show. So we got this one, and then we got another show still left to do, which is going to be around some of the news and rumors that happened today. And if you're intrigued by some running backs that the Raiders could potentially sign, that's going to be the final deal. Yep. That's going to be the final deal.
It's the final deal.
Spit it, Mitch, from Chad Smith. What up, Brandon? What up, Mike? Who's here in the chat right now? Who's here rocking with
93
us?
Navman did say he sent you the dollar Venmo.
All right, well, let me just make sure. Let me
if
make sure.
If you only got one, that's him.
I did get one. I just see he can message me again. I'm going to send you a message just because I don't want somebody who just sent a 1 to get in for only a 1. But right now, as it stands, we have, which it's going to be, I think we're going to get this filled out. We got 12 spots to go. Now, the other thing I was also thinking is,
get it filled out today?
We could potentially get it filled out today. I was also thinking, worst case scenario, if we get a few like extra, we could potentially do like a round of 68 the way that they do it, like where you get 4 play-in games or however the hell it goes, something like that. But I'm hoping that it's just the first 64 people that end up getting in. All right, y'all, coming up here on the show, mock draft time. So Chuggs and I are going to run through this mock. We did it on a PFN mock draft, so all these simulators, all these picks that you're going to see, I only did the Raiders picks. All the other picks are just what the simulator did. Cool? All right, Chuggs, give me a thumbs up. Coming up, let's get into this brand new Raiders mock draft. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. I got a brand new Raiders mock draft coming at you. All 7 rounds, all 8 picks. I did this on PFN mock draft, but I figured the way that I would do this is, since now that free agency 1 week is in the books, a lot of the Raiders' needs are a lot different from the last time I did a mock draft. So what you're going to see coming up here on today's show is I did not do any trades, and I ended up picking all of these picks that the Raiders have right now in 2024. I know originally when I've done some mocks in the past, Tankathon had the Raiders having 9 picks in total, 3 picks in round 7. Now that everything is officially out, comp picks and all of that, the Raiders have 8 picks in total of the 2024 NFL Draft. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to work my way from round 1 all the way down to round 7. If you find yourself looking, though, for more mock drafts out there, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications because anytime that I drop a video, I want you to be in the loop. But on top of that, we're going to be live for the NFL Draft. On top of that, when I do mocks, I think it's also an opportunity for a lot of y'all to try to wrap your mind around some of these new prospects of where Telesco, where Antonio Pierce could potentially go. Because when I do these, I try to do it based off of Raiders' needs, players that I like, players that the Raiders have met with, and I try to look into that crystal ball and predict what the silver and black could potentially do in the 2024 NFL Draft. So let's roll through here some of these mock draft results that ended up going down. Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and then the Minnesota Vikings traded up to number 4 to select Jaden Daniels. I thought about trying to trade up for Jaden. However, the first trade that I offered Minnesota was declined. And I tried to give up 3 first-round picks. They declined it, or I guess I should say Arizona declined it. They just got a better deal from Minnesota. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, they go off the board. At number 7, Olu Fashanu, Brock Bowers, Roma Dunze. Then Joe Alt. Quinion Mitchell goes off the board to number 11 of the Cardinals, and then Terry and Arnold, cornerback from Alabama. So that means for me personally, I'm on the clock now, round 1, pick 13. And I could have gone a few different directions here. Obviously, to me, I'm just going to go with the position that I still value and I still believe that this Raiders team needs to address. Not that I don't believe in Thayer Munford. I just view Talisi Fuaga as being an upgrade over Munford. And if you can have Munford be like that versatile guy, kind of like what we thought Jermaine Illuminor might be, somebody that can play guard, can play tackle, can play left tackle, right tackle, do both of those things. But going out and adding Fuaga, a tough run blocker, who also potentially might end up playing guard. I'm going to put him at right tackle personally. You address that right side of your offensive line and you continue to build one of the best trench units on both sides of the football because as it stands right now, this is the Raiders' offensive line. Your left side is okay. Now, I've also seen some ideas out there. Maybe you kick Dylan Parham to the right guard. You go out and sign another free agent offensive lineman. Based on where the Raiders are at right now, I am really, really hoping that the silver and black go out and you add another offensive guard to the trenches. That way it helps out your overall line going into the NFL Draft. Let's go to round 2 here, pick number 44, and I really like the value, and I was able to get Ennis Rakestraw, cornerback from Missouri. This is my 4th ranked corner for the Raiders, and this is actually a player that I think might end up getting taken in round 1. Very athletic dude, very fiery, very competitive, and this would be arguably the best corner on the Raiders roster right now. I'm a lot higher on Rakestraw maybe than some other people are out there, but 35 tackles, 4 PBUs, no interceptions last season for the Missouri Tigers. Does need to be a little bit better on his ball play, ball hawking skills, but for a competitor, for what Patrick Graham, for what Antonio Pierce is looking for, you go out there, you're going to find somebody that's not afraid to come up and hit you. You're going to go out and find somebody that can do multiple different things, can play in multiple different systems, and could be a legit outside corner. He's an upgrade over Brandon Faison. It would be Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. at round 2, pick 44. Personally, to me, I think Rakestraw gets taken in round 1. Let's go to round 3, pick 77, and I'll be real, this is the part of the mock draft where I was very interested to hear some of y'all's standpoints because Bo Nix was on the board at pick 44. Michael Penix Jr. went off the board already, so I could have taken Bo in round 2, pick 44, but I decided to roll the dice, and I decided to see could maybe Bo fall to round 377, which Nix ended up getting taken in the 60s in this mock draft. So instead, I ended up going with quarterback Spencer Rattler from South Carolina at 77. There's a part of me that wonders where he ends up going in the NFL draft just because there is some upside there. He's got athletic ability. He's got the arm talent. He was the MVP of the Senior Bowl, and I know that the Raiders have started to scout Rattler, and based on the value that I had presented to me, the only way I would have been able to get Michael Penix Jr. is if I would have traded up and probably would have had to give up, more draft picks this year and potentially even a first-round pick in next year's draft. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to take Bo at 44 either, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice on Spencer Rattler, and he was available to me at pick 77, and that's the route that I'm going to go. If the Raiders decide to take this South Carolina quarterback, guess what? You're going to have a three-way quarterback competition between him, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell. And I don't really anticipate that Rattler would legitimately win that battle, but what I do think what would happen is you have Gardner Minshew and Aiden. They battle for the starting spot. Whoever ends up winning that starting spot, you roll them out there, and then you have Rattler learn for a year. Then you hand the keys to him. Like, if you're going to go out and get a quarterback like Rattler, J.J. McCarthy, those guys need time to marinate. Those guys need time to sit behind. And I do think having a QB like Minshew to be that veteran presence that really helps this young quarterback would be the route that the Raiders would ultimately end up going. So I had this question here because I thought, you know what, let's ask the nation. Let's say the Raiders go out and they draft Spencer Rattler. You have Gardner Minshew, you have Aiden O'Connell. Out of those three QBs, who do you think would be the week one starting quarterback for the Silver and Black? Type SR for Spencer Rattler, GM for Gardner Minshew, AOC for Aiden O'Connell. My money would go on Gardner Minshew. Let's go to round 4 here, pick 112. And this is an area that, when I look at this draft here, this is where it gets a little bit weird for me, and I wish that I would have done maybe a few things different when I saw how the draft board fell. To me, Jaden Hicks was by far the best player on the board, and I know Hicks has spoke very highly about the Raiders, has made it very open at the Combine that he is interested in playing for Las Vegas, is a Las Vegas native on top of that, and just what he brings to the table in terms of versatility at the safety position. It is not the biggest need for the Raiders. But if you are looking at best player available, I'm telling you in this mock, he was by far the best player available still left on the board. He can play safety. He can be a tough-nosed type of player. And if you're not sold on Epps or Merrick, and if you potentially next offseason got to pick between one of these players of who you're going to extend, well, going out and getting Jaden Hicks might be a little bit easier of a decision to make. On top of that, if there was a player that I would be intrigued by, could the Raiders turn a safety into a linebacker? Hicks is athletic enough, he's big enough where even if you added like 10, 15 pounds to him, could you do something that we thought maybe the Raiders tried to do with Isaiah Polameo last season? Could you do something that we saw many years ago where Tanner Muse tried to play linebacker? Even, you see it with the linebacker right now. No, not Isaiah Simmons. The linebacker right now, Luke Masterson, where he's a little bit undersized as a linebacker, and some people thought he could potentially end up playing safety. This would be more about a versatility type of move, and you not loving somebody that this regime did not draft, which was Chris Smith. Before I get into our next pick here in this mock draft, I noticed today that there are Christian Wilkins t-shirts available out there. Now, I know it says 00. Wilkins is going to wear number 94, but our partners here, they don't have the number yet updated on the jersey. So bottom line is this: if you want to pre-order your Christian Wilkins t-shirt, it's chatsports.com/Wilkins. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. I know what the picture shows. When you pre-order your t-shirt and it comes to you, it'll have the correct Christian Wilkins number. It's just when they made it, it was 00 just because they didn't want to take a chance on the number. And when you click on the link, it'll literally tell you, like, number hasn't been officially official. I'm up here telling you Christian Wilkins is going to wear number 94. And if you want to pre-order your shirt for a chance to get one, chatsports.com/Wilkins. Let's go to round 5, pick 148, and this is another pick that's not a major need, but Marshawn Lloyd off the board, Ray Davis off the board. I was hoping that one of those two running backs would fall to me at round 5, pick 148, and when I go back and I look at this mock draft, the area that I kick myself in the butt is I wish I would have taken Lloyd or Ray Davis in round 4 instead of Hicks. However, though, it is kind of what it is here. For those of you that are watching live, the video that we're going to do next is the Raiders are signing Alexander Mattison, so just be on the lookout for that. But Cade Stover was somebody who I ended up taking in round 5 here. I believe he's going to be a top 100 player. ESPN has him ranked as their 79th overall dude. But to me, the reason why that I ended up going this route here is because Harrison Bryant's on a one-year deal. I know how difficult it is for tight ends to be able to get a deal done right away, or for tight ends to be able to make an instant impact on a team. So because of this, you have Mayer, you have Harrison Bryant this year, you let Harrison Bryant walk next season, and then you end up rolling it with Cade Stover. Let's go to round 6, 208. I'm going to go with Kamani Vidal, and for people that watch this show will know that this is the running back that I am starting to target late in my drafts. He's a small, undersized back. However, he's a lot stronger and he's a lot thicker than what he gets credit for. He's 5'8", 215 pounds. He has a nasty stiff arm, and I had somebody at the combine tell us that his running style kind of reminds him of a lesser version of Josh Jacobs. Go watch the tape. I know, Troy, small school, large workload, but Kamani Vidal, 4.46 40-yard dash, good footwork, interesting running back prospect that I would at least keep an eye on. Though, as I am making this video, the Raiders did just sign Alexander Mattison to add to that running back backfield. Let's go to round 7 now. Pick 223, Nehemiah Pritchett. And this has been a cornerback that I have just continued to get in mock drafts. I think he's a competitive dude. I also know that he's got some ties with Raiders running back coach now, Carnell Williams. Yes, very different positions, but if you can find a corner that can be a Amik Robertson type of replacement, and you can get him in round 7 that's going to go out there and compete at a high level, I do think it's a position to at least keep in mind. Before we get into the final pick here of our mock draft, if you want in for a chance to win some money for our March Madness bracket, we now need only 12 more people to get in. $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Winner gets $1,600. If you enjoy our duck races, we're going to do a duck race live here on the Raiders Report. You got to win 6 times to end up winning the ultimate prize. The final pick here for my updated Raiders mock draft, Jalen Green, defensive end from James Madison. And I do think it's kind of funny how timing sometimes works. Last week we talked about Green being a player that's got all these stats, all these numbers, 6'1", 245 pounds, 15.5 sacks last season for JMU. I was told over the weekend, and it was been reported, that the Raiders are going to have a top 30 visit with Green. So a lot of the times when you have these type of visits, and if I'm Jalen Green, the number one team or one of the teams I'd love to go to, defensive end, small school, Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders, let's run it. And he's going to get some opportunity to get some playing time. So because they're going to have a top 30 visit with him, and because he's a hell of an athlete, I ended up going Jalen Green here in the 7th round. So one more time here is my Raiders 2024 NFL Draft. Mock draft update, I guess I should say, after week 1 of free agency. Give it an A, B, C, D, or F. If you want to take a screenshot, post this on social media. Just make sure you tag me. I would appreciate it. That way I could, kind of defend myself here and there. But let me know down below. Grade my mock draft A, B, C, D, or is it an F? For me personally, I look at this mock draft and I like it. I really, really like my top 2 picks. I think getting Spencer Rattler in round 3 is a good value. Where I kind of lose it, and I wish I would have gone a different way, is Jaden Hicks, Cade Stover, though I do really, really like the value. For me personally, I'm going to give myself a B minus grade for this Raiders mock draft. All right, y'all, we are live right now here on the Raiders Forum. We got some breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders are signing a running back, Alexander Mattison. So Mattison had a visit with the Silver and Black today, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to get into everything that you need to know around the Raiders going out, signing Mattison. I did have a video that I was going to do here on today's show around the idea of, could the Silver and Black potentially, if they say no to Mattison, go out and look at some other backs? That's not going to happen now. It is officially official. The Las Vegas Raiders are signing former Vikings running back Alexander Mattison. So what I want to know from the nation out there, do you like it? Give me a yes. Give me a no down below. Do you like the move for the Silver and Black, adding Mattison to this backfield? Because now you're going to have Zamir White, you're going to have Mattison, you're going to have Amir Abdullah. Those are going to be your backs. With this move here, I'm not going to say that the Raiders aren't going to go out and address the running back position in the draft. I will say now that I think it's a lot less of a position that they're going to target. I still am holding out hope for Sincere McCormick. I believe that Sincere can be a talented back. What do you got for me?
from our Vikings guy, Mattison last season had the most carries in the NFL without a touchdown.
Interesting. I mean, to me, Alexander Mattison, I don't know really I don't think he's that good of a back. I think Zamir White's a better running back than Mattison is, personally. He's had some opportunities at times. He's never really, I think, been able to be like the more and more work he's gotten, he hasn't delivered from it. This was a running back that I talked about in years past, and maybe because of the connection with last year's running back coach, Kennedy Polamalu. Remember, Polamalu now is no longer a member of the Raiders. He's with Seattle. And the fact that Mattison and Amir Abdullah at one point were teammates, like, could that be a little bit of a reason here of why you end up making this move? Sure. But until I get the actual figures on this contract, I am hoping that the Raiders did not pay him more than $3.5 million per year. Like, that's the number where I would like to be under. With Telesco, though, he did say that he's going to be looking at the running back room and probably going to be somewhere around 2 to 3 backs. If that's what they're staying true, Zamir White, Alexander Mattison, and Amir Abdullah might be in that rotation. You sprinkle in Sincere McCormick. I'll admit this is it's definitely, your running back group has definitely downgraded from last year, and that was to be expected with Jacobs walking out the door. But we'll get into the breaking news here on Mattison, what the Raiders can expect, how much I like the move, and once we do finally get the contract details on the official value of this deal, we will get into it. But Mattison's not going to be anything special. Like, probably not. He's not anything special. He's not as good as Zamir White, and is probably going to be a back that you're going to be able to give 125 touches to this season if you really, really wanted to do that. Like, I would still rather you hand the football off to Zamir White more. And I also don't even think that this means that Mattison is a lock to make the roster. Like, off the jump, yes, he's going to be your RB2 behind White. Then you got Amir Abdullah being your scat back. But don't count out Sincere McCormick, because to me, Mattison is not this athletic running back. He's kind of a plain Jane running back, I guess would be probably the way that I would break it all down for you. Margarine says, I miss Jacobs. I miss Jacobs, but I'm not paying Jacobs the amount of money. Like, would I rather go with Zamir White, Madison Alexander, and then Amir Abdullah at probably their value, or give Jacobs 4 years, $50 million? I'm not giving a running back. Jacobs' contract is probably one of the worst contracts this entire offseason. At any position, not just running backs. I think that's at any position. He's a good back, but getting the amount of money that he did, no way if you're the Raiders can you offer that. No way. Grade the signing of Alexander Mattison, A, B, C, D, or F. Coming up here on the show, we're going to be breaking it down. What? 1 year deal. Correct. Though I actually don't know if that's been clarified yet. No, it's just that he's signing with the Raiders. He had a visit today. Him and Tre White both had a visit today. So the fact that both of them had a visit, like, it's a depth move. I would say that is like Harrison Bryant at tight end too is a better move than Madison Alexander. Or Alexander Mattison, I always say Madison Alexander. Than Alexander Mattison is at the running back position. So, are we ready to get a cut going? No, okay. So A, B, C, D, or F. I see Jose Delgado is saying C. C plus from NC, NCDN. I don't know what that name is. Brother Raider says B. Zach Hansel is going to give it a D. Tim says probably 1 year, $2 million. I'm going to guess it's going to be somewhere around $3 million would be my guess. I'm going to give it a C. I got King Zay. What's up, man? Over 1,500 people here in the building, and yes, it is true. The Las Vegas Raiders did sign Alexander Mattison. The person who broke the news was Jordan Schultz, and I can message Jordan here to see if he can give me any update, but I don't think, he hasn't given me the details yet. Once we get the contract details, no rushing touchdowns last season, correct. Mattison had none. 180 carries, no rushing touchdowns last season for Mattison. Which, I'm not always just going to look at running back touchdowns as anything. Like, to me, that's more of a fluke than... I mean, there was a few years ago, I think it was DeAndre Swift or some back had no rushing touchdowns in the following year. Maybe it was Miles Sanders. I think it was Miles Sanders. Yeah, now we're just going to talk about Alexander Mattison. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense going to the other stuff. I think we talk about, like, Zamir, all the backs, maybe still bring up some of the draft running backs, because now I don't know if it means that they're going to take one. So if you want to find, like, my top running backs list to throw in there, yeah. Mattison signing with the Las Vegas Raiders, man. Can he block at least? Is he a good blocker from people who is Seeps out there? I don't see him. Let me see here real quick. I'll reach out to a few people to see how good he is as a blocker. Is he a good blocker? Yeah, I got a few people here that are pretty tied in with Minnesota, so I reached out to them real quick. Because that's what I'm with you. Like, if he's not a good pass blocker, then I'm definitely not as crazy about this move. Like, one of the segments that I was going to do today is if the Raiders said no to Mattison, who else could you potentially look at? And I know it's a big name that some people like, some people don't like, but a name that I'll throw out there would have been Zeke, and Zeke is simply because he can actually pass block. Like, he's one of the better pass blocking running backs in the NFL. So we'll see. Really, who was that from Matthew Y? I don't know what that means. Did Mattison catch 3 touchdown passes, though? Just didn't run one. We'll get into all the numbers here on Mattison, which I'm pretty sure that we have anyway. We'll be able to bring up, like, he did have 30 catches last year. He had 15 the year before. I want to say he had another 30 the year before that. Like, he can catch the football. He's just not as efficient as I think what you want. Like, this isn't somebody who I want to give a lot of touches to. Like, he started 13 games last season, 700 rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns, 3.9 yards per carry. Minnesota's offensive line, though, was pretty weak. I'll say that. Was not a great unit. All right, Chuggs, I say we get into this cut here. All right, coming up here on the show, we are going to get into the breaking news around the Raiders signing running back Alexander Mattison. You ready? Chuggs, give me a thumbs up. Are we going to get a highlight cut for this? Cool. That's already done. All right, bet. All right, let's get into the show right now here around the Raiders. We got some breaking news here on the Raiders Report. Alexander Mattison is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to get into the latest situation with the Raiders in free agency, signing a backup running back for Zamir White. I'm going to tell you if I like the move, if I don't like the move, what does this mean for the Raiders for the remainder of free agency? What does this mean for the silver and black in the NFL draft? All of that is coming up on today's show. But this is why you subscribe. We are literally live here on the show breaking down a mock draft on the Raiders Report, and then all of a sudden it was bang. The Las Vegas Raiders end up signing another running back here, Alexander Mattison. And for people that watch the show, you'll know that, Telesco Antonio Pierce, they've been looking at finding another running back, and one of the things that Telesco said this offseason is that they value the running back position as having 2 to 3 backs. You have Zamir White, you have Amir Abdullah, now you're adding another back in that with Mattison, and he's a bigger back, 5'11", 215 pounds out of Boise State. He had 180 carries, 700 rushing yards last season, 0 touchdowns. He was the running back in the NFL that had the most carries in the league without a rushing touchdown, something to keep in mind. What I am most curious about is the overall split in carries. Like, I still want Zamir to get more carries than Mattison, and let's say if you're giving out 300 carries in total to your running back position, like, I would rather Zamir White be at like 175, maybe 200 carries, Mattison at 125 and 100. Like, nothing that Mattison does is spectacular. You just need him to be an extra body, an extra depth piece, and if you want to compare the two, Like, I think Harrison Bryant being a tight end 2 is going to have more value to this team than Mattison being your RB2 for the Silver and Black. Now, the reason that this move ended up going down today was Mattison had a visit with the Raiders today. He wasn't the only player. Also, Tre White, cornerback from the Buffalo Bills, also had a visit today. But the deal, which I am hoping is under the Spotrac market value, which the Spotrac market value is at $3.2 million. I just reached out to Jordan Schultz. He hasn't really given me a number yet anyway also, and of how much value this is. But Las Vegas is looking for a replacement for Josh Jacobs. And let's face it, you're not really going to be able to replace Jacobs. And I don't blame the Raiders for not wanting to give him or matching Jacobs' deal of 4 years, $48 million, because I think it's actually one of the most overpaid, worst contracts in free agency so far. But like, you saw Zamir White can be a reliable running back last season. I sat up here on this show and I said, I don't know, I don't think Zamir's ever going to be a good running back in the NFL. I was wrong. Like, Zamir proved that he can be a reliable back. Do I still view him as being a legit bell cow, a true RB1? No, not really. I view this as, okay, you need a little bit of a breather here and there. What I'm really, really curious is, what does this mean for the Raiders in the 2024 NFL Draft? Let's have a little bit of fun here, though. Who's going to be the Raiders' starting running back in 2024? Do you think it's going to be Alexander Mattison? Is it going to be Zamir White? Or are the Las Vegas Raiders going to target a back in the draft now? Because are you going to draft a Blake Corum? Are you going to draft somebody like a, I don't know, Marshawn Lloyd, a Ray Davis, a Trey Benson, a Bucky Irving? A lot of different values that you can end up looking at here. Who's going to be the Raiders starting running back, though, in 2024? Please let me know down below. The name that I'm going to throw out there, it's going to be Zamir White, is going to be the main back. However, I reached out to some Vikings people that are very close to the situation there in Minnesota, and they are telling me that Alexander Mattison is a very good pass-blocking running back. So one of the players that I was going to throw out today, if Las Vegas ended up not signing Alexander Mattison, was going to be Ezekiel Elliott because of the value that he brings to you as a pass blocker. Now the fact that I know that Mattison is one of the better run-blocking, or I guess pass-blocking running backs in the league, that's going to be paying dividends, whether that's Aiden O'Connell, whether that's Gardner Minshew, whether you end up drafting a rookie quarterback. You need to have a back that you know is going to be able to go in the game and be a reliable pass-blocking back. Like, that's going to get Mattison on the field, because I don't trust Zamir White to do it. And if it really comes down to a third down situation, and if it's 3rd down and 4, and you're not like, I don't really know if we're going to run the ball here with Zeus, you put in Mattison there to give you that extra pass blocking, which can go a long way, especially if you are a little bit uncertain with one side of your offensive line. If your offensive line is what it is right now on the right side with Thayer Munford, and if it's DJ Fluker at right guard, which I really don't think it's going to be, you can then kick somebody over there to just add as that extra blocker there. So coming up here, Raiders 2024 running back targets in the draft. I'm not going to say that it's impossible that the Silver and Black go out and draft a running back, but I definitely think that there is a little bit of a lesser chance for the simple fact of, I like the Raiders running back room where other people might not like. I think Sincere McCormick is a good back. I think Alexander is a decent RB2, but now knowing that he also gives you some of that extra value in the pass blocking game, that's a solid move on top of that. So the Raiders running back room is a little bit crowded, and they could still decide to go back in the draft. I'll get into some of those names, though, here in a little bit. For those that do not know, I want you to pre-order your Christian Wilkins Raider shirts. It's not going to show up as 00. It's just, all it is until the number's officially official, which he's going to end up wearing 94. But when they made the jersey here, they just wanted you to pre-order. It'll say 94. So if you want to pre-order your T-shirts, it's chatsports.com/Wilkins. That link's going to be available to you all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. They are going to go fast. And I started talking about this offer when I went live on Monday. From what I am seeing right now, if you want one, these might not be around by Tuesday. Chatsports.com/Wilkins. So some of the other moves that the Raiders have made in free agency so far, you re-signed Amir Abdullah, Andre James, you brought him back. Obviously, you're building the trenches with Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew. You went out and you signed Harrison Bryant at tight end, Kanai Malga at linebacker over the weekend. The Raiders also re-signed Adam Butler. You re-signed John Jenkins, and now the Silver and Black have put a little bit of a details, if you will, in Alexander Mattison at the running back position. I unfortunately still do not have the details yet of this contract. I'm hoping, like I said before, it's not over $3.5 million. Like, that's kind of where I was hoping the contract to be a little bit lower than that. Spotrac has the value at $3.2 million. Knowing that he is, though, a good pass blocking running back does make me a lot more confident in the Raiders making this decision here. If you're looking at some other running back prospects in the 2024 NFL Draft, here are some names that I'll just throw out there that Las Vegas still could potentially target, and I don't think it's going to be as big of a focus now for this team. Telesco and Pierce kind of stay true to their word where they're trying to build a running back backfield by committee. If you're 100% not sold on Sincere McCormick, or if you're 100% not sold on Britton Brown, or believe that Amir Abdullah is simply just a special teams type of player, then you could potentially look at some other backs on this list. The running backs that I'm most intrigued by are Ray Davis and Marshawn Lloyd, simply just because of where you could potentially get them. The Raiders now, I do not foresee them taking a back in rounds 2 or 3. You're looking at day 3 backs only. Probably in round 5 is when the Raiders start looking, where anything earlier than that, I just don't see it as a big-time need unless one of these backs does end up sliding down the board a little bit. So will the Raiders draft a running back this year? Give me a yes. Give me a no, because based on where the running back room is right now, you got Zamir White. You also now got Madison Alexander, and then you got Amir Abdullah, you got Britton Brown, you got Sincere McCormick sprinkled in there. Very, very interesting to see what ends up going down. I was a lot more confident that the Raiders would draft a back. Now, though, gun to my head, I'm probably going to say no. I don't think that the Raiders end up taking a back now unless somebody very high on their board does end up sliding down. Mattison, though, signs with the Raiders. Don't have the details yet. As soon as we get the details, I will put them in the comments and put them in the description. I'll also put it as like the pinned comment on today's show. But if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. I am still live here on the Raiders Report. So if you watch this video and you still want to hang out and ask me some questions, I'm going to be here live for a little bit longer on the show. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, staying up to date. Madison Alexander, welcome to the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, man. Grade the signing of Alexander Mattison, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give it a C grade. C+, knowing that he's a good pass blocker. That's the most important thing to me.
I was going to do the grade again, but I like the conversation of him or Zeus. Who do you give more? If it's those two guys, who do you give more carries between the two? Madison has some more experience, but has always been the number 2. I mean, he was behind Dalvin Cook up until this year, and then he really didn't wow this year.
Yeah, he's not much of a wow running back. And before, like I said, I don't have time to watch tape on all these guys. Like, I know what he is between the tackles type of runner, pass catcher. Nothing's going to inspire you. Knowing now that he's also a very good pass blocker, that makes me like this move a little bit more.
And actually, we do have our Vikings host, Patrick Seatman. If you want to you can sit down for a second, talk with Mitch, kind of give them the lowdown, because a lot of people are having questions about Alexander Mattison and like what kind of running back he is.
Yeah, if you guys want to get those questions, comments on the show, #Raiders, or you can super chat. I got our Vikings host, Seeps. If you guys want to ask Seeps anything about Madison Alexander, I
think you hit it on the head.
I keep saying it.
Great pass blocker. Had the most carries in the NFL without a touchdown last season.
Yep.
But normally he was good at the goal line before last year.
Last season. The Vikings' offensive line, though, was not very good, right?
Especially in the run blocking department. I mean, they were 27th in rushing the 2 seasons ago and 29th last year. So they weren't ever really able to run the ball consistently.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So if he's on, is he like predominantly like shotgun good pass blocker?
Yeah, blitz pickup, man. He was great. Yeah,
okay.
He had, I think it was 64 blitz pickup snaps I just saw. He had like a PFF grade of like 62.5, and he only allowed, I think it was 1 sack credited to him. So it was pretty good.
I mean, that's really solid. I mean, the name I always bring up here, which I get, it's like Zeke, because to me, at this point, if you're going to try to find an RB2, I want somebody that can pass block a little bit, because I don't trust Zamir, I don't trust Amir Abdullah, and then if you're going to roll with Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell or a rookie, it's a very underappreciated position that NFL teams do look at and need.
Definitely. I mean, the Vikings' other running back last year, Ty Chandler, better running back than Madison. But Madison just got on the field more because of the pass pro. Ty Chandler. But other guy.
I don't know who you mean.
Kene Nwangwu. Yeah, Kene Nwangwu.
How is Mattison at catching the football?
He's pretty good as well. I think I saw he had a career year with receptions this past year, so he has that ability.
I want to say he had 30 catches this past year. Though when he got opportunities to be the main back,
he was good before this year.
Okay.
I think I have actually something built in Vikings about his stats as a starter, which I think he averaged like almost 100 yards a game.
But that was before this season.
That was before this year. That was when Dalvin Cook went out, and then he would step in. But
well, we'll see what the Vikings end up doing. There's a report right now that they're going to have a private workout with J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, it's going to be Vikings trading up with the Chargers, and then
you think?
That is my prediction right now.
Oh man. Or the Vikings trade for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I don't know if the Chargers are doing that. Raiders fans would love that.
Dude, I would be ecstatic if that
somehow
would be the
get
case.
Herbert out of the division.
Get him out of there, man. Get him out of there. All right, man, we got 1,700 people here in the chat right now. If anybody has any questions on the Raiders going out and signing Alexander Mattison, let me know. We'll stay live here for a little bit longer. Today's show was a little bit different than what I had planned. I knew that something was going to happen today around Mattison. Didn't know if it was going to happen like right away, but it is what it is. Patrick B., I see you are in the duck race here, Patrick B. And then I also see Nico Laz is in the March Madness, which now means we are down to only 11 spots left in our March Madness bracket here. For the Raiders Report, $50 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 to get in. Winner's going to win $1,600. Let's go to the real Cowboy 30. What up, Cowboy? Sorry I am late to the party. My wife just had an ultrasound. Raider fan coming November 2024. What did I miss? Well, first off, congratulations to you. I mean, that's Raider fan coming November 2024. My dad's birthday is November 20th. That would be pretty epic.
This dude F's.
Literally.
Look, we know.
Literally down to get down.
Congrats though, real
honestly,
Cowboy.
man, congrats. That's freaking awesome. And if there's a reason to be late, it's that.
It's so funny because all I imagine real Cowboy being is like an old person because of the photo with Davis.
Yep.
So now I'm like, is real Cowboy like really like 22 years old, 23 years old? Like, I always read real Cowboy's super chats and think of like whenever real Cowboy does chats as he's like a 65-year-old dude.
I mean, he might be. He's 65. His wife's like 24.
Well, we know 93 Navman is 65 because he said he sent you a message on Facebook.
Sent me a message on Facebook. That's that might be worse. I don't know how I'm going to find that. I don't ever go on Facebook. I don't even know if I can log on to Facebook on my phone. Yeah, it's a disaster. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get your Facebook message. I got to log in. I got to do a lot of stuff here. That's not going to happen.
Mitch,
IG, Twitter, that's where I'm at.
Mitch, not a Facebook guy.
I'm not 50. I don't know.
Isaac Contreras, well, this is certainly a move. Not a good, but eh.
I mean, like I said, there's times where, you do like an instant reaction to a player, and I want to be able to give you a reaction based off of as much knowledge as what I have. I don't have more knowledge than our Vikings guy, and once Seeps told us that he's a really good pass blocker, that makes me a lot more excited about this, the move. I know that Mattison at one point was a good running back his first 3 years, and I did like him when he was coming out of Boise, but last season he was pretty underwhelming. He can catch the football, and if he's able to be that reliable RB2, but just like what I said before about Harrison Bryant got on the field because he was a good run blocker, because he was a good pass blocker. That's what's going to help Alexander Mattison get on the field.
I felt bad for Alexander Mattison because everybody kind of saw him as Dalvin Cook light.
Yeah.
Similar type of running backs, same kind of stature, both have long dreads over their jerseys, both playing for the Vikings. He was. I feel like a lot of people viewed him as like, oh, he's Dalvin Cook light.
Sure.
I guess he'll get a chance to prove himself in camp and see what he can do.
I mean, you got to have an open competition, and there's a part of me that wonders if Zamir cannot improve his pass blocking, because if it is Gardner, if it's Aiden, if it's a rookie, I mean, that's going to be a very, very important spot in that running back battle. Like, I'm not going to be don't get me wrong, in the preseason, I'll be looking at, all right, what does Zamir look like between the tackles? What does Mattison look like between the tackles? But what you really need to pay attention to is, what do the Raiders decide to do in shotgun formations? What do they decide to do if they are going to pass? Because if that's Mattison, that's a huge role that he's going to be eating up.
So this is from our Vikings host, who y'all just saw on here, Patrick Seatman.
And this is before last season.
Before the season, yes.
All right, so this is before 2023.
Yes, as a starter before this season.
Okay.
6 games, 115 yards per game, 4.1 yards per carry, and total touchdowns. Maybe I put that in the title.
I mean, he was getting heavy work. I know that early on. Like when Dalvin would go down, Mattison would be the guy. But I also think that this year he got the opportunity to be the guy and didn't really live up to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good depth move. Good depth move. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can keep Zamir White healthy. Let's go to Elijah. What up, man? Mitch and Chuggs, you two should consider touring cities for watch parties during the season with live Q&As, merch sales, and drink specials. I run a Sacramento restaurant and would love to have you.
Well, I love to eat.
I love me some food too. So Elijah, I mean, this has been something that I would love to be able to do. I don't think that we'll really be able to do it like watch party style, just because
we have been thinking about.
It's tough, but I would like to be able to do like city tours in the summer.
So like summer, like dog days, like maybe go check out a couple spots, like a couple like Raider events would be dope. We went to a couple last off season. We saw Crosby's parents. They were really nice, really cool.
Yep.
I actually, if they're watching, or if they said they watch our show sometimes. If they're watching, I actually broke my hand that night I met you.
They know.
Do they?
I would imagine.
I didn't say anything that night. I feel like I played it off well. Mostly because I was really drunk.
Yeah, I remember when you hit you hit the punching bag, you're like, I think I broke my hand.
Dude.
What's crazy is that's almost a year ago.
Yeah. Well, the other crazy part is I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't broken, that I just like hurt my wrist a little bit. And we went outside and there was cops outside, and I was like, hey, there was a female cop. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, can I get a picture of you arresting me? Which, me being drunk at the time probably wasn't a great idea.
No, because there was something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, will you arrest me?
Yep.
And she was like, sure.
Sure.
So she put the handcuffs on me on my wrist, and she did them kind of tight as a joke. And then in that moment, I was like, dude, I actually do think I broke my wrist.
I mean, I know this though, Elijah. If you ever like wanted to do an event, if you have the restaurant, I would say like message Jeremy and I. Like I said, we've come out to places before, and I'll be very transparent. We do usually have like a appearance fee. Now we can work out deals and do stuff like that. But if you're like, hey man, I'll host a Raiders Report party, and if there's a lot of people in that area that would go, and if you're down to clown, and if you're down to have us there, I'm in.
Yo, Arnie, that was the problem. I was really drunk when I did it.
Yep.
I got a really good score though. It was like 940.
I don't remember what you did. I remember as soon as you hit it though, because you punched like down.
I think I have a video of it.
You definitely have a video. But Elijah, if you want to get something going, man, I'm down to get down. Let's go to Raider 34 Life. When are you doing the bracket challenge, Mitch? It starts on Thursday. So when March Madness actually starts is when I will actually get this thing going as well, which, again, we only got 11 more spots to go. And there's a part of me that wonders if I just got a few more messages here for people that are trying to get in our 50-50 raffle / duck race. But, like, the way that it's going to go down is I'm going to try to get through the entire first round by Friday. So on Thursday's live show, we're going to do a shit ton of round one races. Friday, we're going to do a shit ton of round one races, and then we'll continue as our live shows go on to do the duck races, and then we'll figure out a winner. My goal, though, is to do the championship Probably not this Friday, but next Friday.
Any guess of when that happened, that Raider event we went to?
It was April 15th.
Dude, how did you know that?
There's certain things I can remember. There's other things I don't remember. I don't know why. I'm good with remembering some things. Other things don't. You can't get mad at me. Like numbers, I'm good at remembering. Instantly grabbed the wrist. It was an instant wrist grab.
9/11.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That's a number to brag about, I'll tell you that.
My bad.
Maybe it wouldn't be the one that I brag about, but hey, it is what it is.
Dude, yeah.
Any news on Tre White? No. The only news is that he did visit with the Raiders today.
Also, here's me doing a boot at the event.
Yeah, that was, I'll tell you what, Mercedes, that event, that was an impressive boot. That's also cold, by the way. That's a cold boot. Which, if you do a boot, I did a boot at that event too, and I barely finished it because of how cold it was. My eyes were dripping with tears.
I think I have Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes did a really good boot. It was an impressive boot for Mercedes.
Yeah.
Though I thought he was gonna spew. It was close.
Oh, it was.
It was rather close, man.
Very close. Derek.
Alexander Mattison just tweeted that he signed the contract, or quote tweeted Jordan Schultz.
Agreed, but.
Yep, I'm in. 37 years old, hoping Minshew can be Gannon 2.0. I mean, you and me both, right? Like, I'll tell you what, man, it would be unbelievable, which somebody the other day asked me, could Gardner Minshew have a year like Baker Mayfield, where he's in a new spot? What if he is the starter, and if Baker can throw for 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, can Gardner Minshew?
Yeah.
I don't view Gardner as that level of type of a QB, but being Gannon 2.0, like, to me, you can't create a world where Gardner Minshew is the MVP. You know what I mean? Like, he might be, if Gardner started the entire season, and if he finished the year with 24 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, I'd be like, that's a great year for Gardner Minshew. I mean, it's a phenomenal year. But that's not really what I don't want to just hope for that. I want more. I want more at the quarterback position. Call me crazy. Enrique, if I see Raiders in LA, do I wear a home jersey? Yes. It is the Raiders' home. All right, y'all. Final call here to get in our 50-50 raffle. I do got to go take a quick little pee. Can I go pee real quick? Get the final names in here. And then we'll continue to go. I know some people are asking how long we can stay live for. I gotta call Alex also here real quick to see how much longer we can stay. However, yeah, we will see. What? Your cam's a little weird? I got you. So 50-50 raffle, 20 to get in at Mitchell Renz 365. 365. So, right now, as it stands, we got 17 people that are in this race. So, if you want in to 20, so now we got 18. I just saw Steve OK got in. Steve OK, you in. And then I also see Jose Cos is in. Curtis Samuel deal, 3 years, $24 million. That's kind of what I expected. At 19, Jose Cos is in. Final call here. I see Steve Pena in. Winner gets 200 now. This race is for today. The March Madness bracket will not start until Thursday. Randall Carter getting in. Cool. All right, so here's what's going to happen. Chuggs is going to take over here. Jose Delgado is in, and then when I get back, I'll put in all the rest of the names, and then we're going to run a duck race, and then we're going to get out of here. But if you are just tuning in, the breaking news that did go down, the Raiders signed running back Alexander Mattison. There is a video that's already out on the YouTube channel if you want to go check it out for a little bit more in depth of what I think about the move. But in the meantime, what's your one-word reaction to the Raiders signing Alexander Mattison?
Let me know down in the comment section. One-word reaction to the Raiders signing Alexander Mattison. I would say meh, solid, both decent descriptors for this signing. I would say depth. Chuggs, I responded to Mitch on Venmo. Okay, gotcha. 93.5, man. I'll let him know. Meh, blocker. I mean, he's aight. Yeah, he's very average. Okay. Not going to be, a home run hit signing at the running back position. He's not bad. Last 4 seasons, last year 180 carries, 700 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. The year before, in a backup role, 74 carries, 283 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. Same in 2021 and 2020 in a backup role. I mean, he's not going to be your guy that's, a Josh Jacobs replacement at all. And if you think he's a Josh Jacobs replacement, horrible news for you on that. But he's a guy that's going to step in and add depth at the position.
Going to add some depth. Going to be a solid pass blocker on top of all of that. So, all right, I see the next names. Daniel Jimenez is in.
93 Navman said he did respond to your Venmo.
And then Jeremy Carter is also in. Oh, man. He said he responded?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put you in 93 Navman as your real name. That way I can find you on Venmo, just so you know. Which means now we have 10 spots left in our March Madness bracket. 10 spots left. Oh boy, it's gonna fill up quick. Which now, I'm a little bit nervous about because I put in some of those videos we have spots left. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. All right, I'm gonna refresh my phone one more time here.
The early bird gets the worms.
And no more people are getting in our duck race, so you could take that off of your screen. We got 24 people in. Winner is going to go home with $240 today. Winner's going to go home with $240
doll hairs.
It's quite a bit of doll hairs. I got some extra names in. All right, we're good. I think we are all checked off here for all the names in the duck race. Again, if you are just tuning in, we went live today, which we always try to go live 4 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. There was some Raiders breaking news that did just happen. The Raiders did sign Alexander Mattison to a 1-year deal. We still do not have the contract details yet out on that. I see somebody asking for, can you give a free agent update for the Raiders? They signed over the weekend Adam Butler. They also signed John Jenkins. They re-signed, I guess we could, the only thing that you're missing on this list here is Jenkins. So Amir Abdullah they signed, Andre James, Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew, Harrison Bryant, Kenai Malga, Adam Butler, Alexander Mattison, John Jenkins are the players that they have signed so far. Kenai Malga's 1 year, $285K, I want to say. Adam Butler, I still haven't seen those details out yet. And then the John Jenkins ones are interesting as well because I want to say his agent tweeted out that the Raiders signed him to a 1 year, $3.25 million deal. And then today, according to Over the Cap, it came out that he only got a $1.2 million deal. So a little bit of conflicting reports there. All right, we're going to do a bike race here. Dirt bikes. I like it. Dirt bike race coming up on the show. Whew, boy. Somebody's going to go home with $240. Can I get a quick shuffle?
Cupid. A shuffle. A Cupid.
A little quick little shuffle piece.
To the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick. Now kick. Now come on, baby, kick.
All right, here we go. Winner gets $240.
We were talking earlier. Best white wedding song that's on the white person wedding playlist. What is it?
I mean, it's probably Electric Shuffle, I would say. Sweet Caroline.
Mambo number 5. 1, 2,
Party
3, 4,
in
5.
Party in the USA, I feel like, is a song.
See, we didn't play that at ours.
No?
No.
I don't know.
We did play Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Do the shuffle.
I'll be curious to see what type of music we have at our wedding. I don't know.
Suavemente.
No doubt. Alex wants a live band, but I was like, I want a DJ. So
dude, if you do, y'all need to get Emerald City.
What is that?
They're basically like a band that does like weddings all over, and they have like they have like 10 people that come to your wedding, and there's like 3 or 4 singers, and other people do instruments, but they're like really good. Like they're known as like the best wedding band in Dallas. I'm not even kidding. I believe
you.
They
were. I want a DJ.
They were at Danny's older sister's wedding, and I've seen them at 4 other weddings I've been to.
See, I want a live DJ, and I know if we're gonna the live music that we're gonna get, she wants to do a mariachi, so I was like, all right, we got to get one. Like DJ and a mariachi band is probably what we'll end up getting, but the mariachi band will be obviously before the DJ starts playing. All right, let's go. Let's run this race. Winner gets $240. 3, 2, 1. Rev it. Here we go. Out to an early lead. It looks like Jeremy Carter, followed by Michael Gomez, Patrick B. Now they're starting to fall back here a little bit. Mo Schaub.
Scott blew out a tire.
Already. Rosario. Falling back. Mo. Frank.
Dude, why is Jeremy standing up?
I'm actually confused of what he's doing.
He is standing up on the
No, I think his motorcycle is a little bit higher than this.
Bro, what is going on?
Yeah, some of these racers are just, how can you even see? Scott Eckert's really back there. Rob Fravor, I thought was about to take the lead. Raider Sancho. Now it's Steven Rupp by a tire. I mean, this one has been
Pena
back and forth, back and forth. This is like Mario Kart. Who's going to get the star and propel forward? Is it going to be Pena? Is he going to have enough to hang on? Is it going to be DeMokes? Rob Fravor with the NOS. My goodness. Rob Fravor hits the NOS. That's a big win for Rob.
He needed that.
That's Rob's been kind of a lucky duck. Rob 5 days ago won $220. Rob also on January 19th won $1,160. So Rob Fravor, congrats.
Rolling in the dough.
Winner of $240. If you can please confirm
Kevin,
with me
that was our
down below.
That was our 50-50 raffle that we do usually every show now.
Yep. Where
we give our viewers a chance to win some money in a fun little duck race.
Correct. He beat my 1,100 I won from Jose. I think now the most money that we've given away,
4,000.
Not at one time.
Yes.
No.
That was for the.
It was 3,200.
That was. For
somebody
the
won $1,600. That was the night the Raiders beat the Chiefs, and then we spun the gimbal, and they ended up getting double. But yeah, that day alone.
We gave it like $4,000 something, like 4,000 something.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. Michael Gomez, what kind of sauce in Rob's bike? Yeah, he got the dub. What up, Mark?
I think this is 20 pounds.
I don't really. How do you weigh a super chat? But it's probably up there. Would it be the best to trade a couple of top players plus picks to get number 3 in the draft and get Mayor Daniels? I think right now the problem is they're not going to trade out of 3. Like I don't see the top 3 teams trading out of the top 3. My next question would be, like, what do you want to give up? Because if I'm an NFL team, I'm going to value picks. Now, depending on what players you want to throw in there, that can change a little bit depending on the team. But, like, to me, if the Raiders want to go up and get into the top 3, it's 3 first-round picks and then some.
Venom Sosa. What's up?
What's up? What up, Venom? What's up, my man? All right, Jeremy.
we don't have anything else.
If we got nothing else, I'm going to hop on out of here. I appreciate all y'all for tuning into the show.
Last reminder, because we've gotten a ton today, and
we only have 10 more, 9 more spots. Savannah, I just got one from Savannah Shover. She now is number 55. So there is only, we only have a few more left. What's up, Savannah? It's been a minute.
Has all of Mount Raidermore gotten their chance?
No. Gotten their chance? Yes. Is everyone in? No. But, I've given chances out. Like, the only Mount Raidermore that's not in is Wild One, Raider Ron, I believe. Yeah, Brandon's in. Trivan's in. I want to say Patrick B was like one of the first ones in. Patrick B's in. Yeah, Borelli's not in. Everyone else I want to say is in from Mount Raidermore. All right, y'all. That's going to be it for today's show. We are going to be live here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Obviously, if any other breaking news ends up going down here around the Silver and Black, we'll be back. If the Raiders do sign somebody else tonight, I will do my best to make a video around that topic. If it's like big-time breaking news.
Xavier Howard.
Like, if the Raiders were to sign Xavier Howard, I'm coming in. Adoree Jackson, are we coming in? If the Raiders sign Tre White, are we coming in?
That's a you question.
It's a me question? If the Raiders sign Tre White tonight, would you guys be down to, like, drinking pants and party? Because that's the only way I'm coming in here. Like, if I'm pulling up, we're partying for a few hours. Yes or no? Would you guys be? Is Tre White big enough to party? Yes or no? Big Luck says Chuck appearance. If you want Chuck to make an appearance, that means I'm going live from my house, which maybe could happen.
Alex appearance?
Yeah, that's unlikely. that one's probably a little bit more unlikely. The 49ers just signed Josh Dobbs, quarterback.
Whoa.
Competition for Mr. Purdy.
Would we go live if they signed Josh Dobbs?
All right. Well, somebody said that you'd want to go party for Tre White. All right, fair enough. If the Raiders sign a true cornerback one, we're gonna party here on this Raiders Report show. I just don't know if it'll be in studio. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
If it ends up happening. All right, y'all. Hell of a show today. I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Justin Gilbert said, put me in March Madness.
8 spots left.
8 spots remaining. I'm telling you what, I can't wait to do the March Madness bracket. They're all going to be filled up. They're all going to be filled up by Thursday now. I didn't know. They're going to be filled up now. All right, I see we just got one.
Isaac said if Tre White signs, I'll take a hot sauce shot.
I might need some help with some shots, so I'll keep you guys accountable there. We got Jordino. Mitch, you helped me out big time when I was having a, bone marrow transplant. You shared my post. I wanted to ask if you would take Joe Milton in the 4th. Well, first off, shout out to you for battling something like that, and I'm glad that I could help you out in any way possible. And if anybody has stuff like this going on in your life and you need me to share it, believe me, I'm more than happy to share it. In terms of Joe Milton in the 4th, no, I'm not a Joe Milton fan. I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He's not a good enough passer to me. He's a good athlete. Like, he might get an opportunity to get on a roster with some teams, but overall, like, I'm just not going to target Joe Milton in the draft. You can't paint a picture where he's a good NFL QB to me. Like, maybe he ends up being a good athlete. Maybe he ends up being a good football player, landing somewhere, but it's a no disrespect to Milton. I'm not a big fan of his NFL game overall. Jordan, though, appreciate this a lot, man. Believe it or not, these messages do mean a lot to me.
And then this one was the other one.
Yeah, if Tre White signs with us, I'll take a shot of hot sauce. If he ends up signing hot sauce, how hot is it, though?
Carolina Reaper.
If it's Carolina Reaper, then that's a whole nother level. All right, y'all, from Jeremy Chuggs, enjoy the rest of your Monday. I will see you guys here tomorrow 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Alexander Mattison, welcome to the nation.